Jesus criminy, I've never seen anything like it in my life. Now you guys are giving Xander Krause ideas when it comes to Big Sills being a tad late. Actually, I'm never late. I'm always on Big Sills time. And if you're on Big Sills time, you're at the right place. What's the best phrase in sports? It's a football Friday on the Big Sills Show. Big Sills, the National Football Show. We welcome you aboard. Thank you. Big Sills is never late. Big Sills is never wrong. I live in the Big Sills world, and now so do you. And you know what that means. How could I be wrong in how I see things? How? Well, you're not right. Well, no, I'm right in the Big Sills world. That's how we do it, M. Reyes, and you know that. How you doing, Sue? Thank you so much. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. By the way, we are powered by our great friends at BetUS for the next 4 hours. Please hit the like button. First 15. We call it the Power 15. By the way, you know what's really cool about that? It reminds me a lot of radio. You know why I like what Xander told me about the first 15 minutes when it comes to the like button? If people hit it, that means you've got people's attention. In radio, we used to call that get to the meat and get to the red meat. Nobody likes a lazy open or a meandering open is what I call it. You want to punch him in the head. Hurts sucks. No, that's not the show. That's not the show. That's not it. Hurts sucks. No, that's not it. I promise. That's not it. Okay? It's not it. It's not it. By the way, Kellen Moore, we're going to talk about him. The Big Sills prediction. Jaguars versus Eagles. Week 9 of the National Football League. And get this, when I see actually something out there on a topic that I like, I am going to reference the person that put it out, and I may use it, and I'm going to hear. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit that like button. Let's kill that like button here on a Football Friday. Thank you, guys, for coming aboard. You have so many options. Xander will join us at 3:30. Jason Cole, our Hall of Fame voter, will join us at 4:30. And the legendary Philly Godfather for you to make some money at 5:30. Okay. I saw this on WIP and their Twitter page, and I liked it. They do very few things that I like. They're not very good shows. It's a great station because of you. One thing I'll say this, man, and I don't care who they put on. As long as the Eagles are on that station and the Phillies, shit. That station doesn't have to worry about anything. That's why they're not paying anybody any more money over there. Honestly, they're not paying anybody anything over there anymore. They used to pay big money. That's why you don't have big talent. So you don't have to worry about that. So they pay those guys chicken shit money now. But they do have a good social media guy. And I like the topic. If you had with the trading deadline coming up next week on November 5th, would you trade Nick Sirianni right now for Doug Peterson? It's the Doug Bowl this weekend, by the way. It's the only reason we're referencing it. Would you trade him? I actually liked the topic. Little fun here on a Football Friday. Would you trade Doug for Nick? M. Reyes, nope, because Nick sucks as a head coach. He sucks. Nah, dude, why would you keep a guy like that? You know he's not a good coach. He has no job. Okay, one loony for another. Dude, Doug Peterson is a coach. No way. Sills theory, that great quarterback like Stroud do not need wide receivers to win games. No, quarterbacks make wide receivers great. Not wide receivers make shitty quarterbacks good. I'd take Doug. Shit, I would trade Nick Sirianni for Rich Kotite. You kidding me? I would trade him in a second. Hey, by the way, if I put Nick Sirianni up on the trading block, what would he command in return? Let's see. Guy's been to playoffs every year. He's been a head coach. He's got a heck of a record. He's like 40-19 or something like crazy like that. What would you think you could get for him? Because somebody out there is going to think he's actually a good coach when they pull the number back and they realize that he's just George Seifert. I mean, he's not that great. He's a proven champ. You mean Doug's a proven champ? Sirianni's a proven chump. Nick is not getting paid. Oh my God, senor. Sills, I like the podcast, but you hate on Hurts so much that he's be playing well, 9 TDs, 0 touchdowns is great. And he keeps it up. He'll go 7 to number 3 in the MVP voting. Say Sean. Yeah, okay. Thank you for the super chat. Xander, I missed one. Thank you very much. I hated your show when I first heard it, but my wife pointed out you were saying the same things about the Birds that I was saying. Just sounded different coming from a non-Eagle fan. Holy shit. That goes back to what Xander says. Hey, Jack, I got a feeling it's got a lot to do with a Trump delivery. Would that be fair, Jack? Jack, do you think I have a Donald Trump delivery? And that's why it is? Never. Jalen Hurts couldn't be good in China. Is it more that because it's kind of like a Trump delivery? I actually had a program director. Hey, I actually had a program director compare me to Donald Trump because I incite a riot. I'm like, come on, man. Come on now. So you said Hopkins, another guy. He had 1,000 yards with you when who was a quarterback last year? You compared him to Julio. Excuse me. DeAndre Hopkins is 33 years old. DeAndre Hopkins is not the same guy he was 5 years ago. He's not the same dude. Okay? Jalen Hurts, GOAT. He's not a GOAT. He's okay. He's had two good games. 2 good games this year. Jesus, criminy. All right. We're going to get to the game and my prediction. Mo says he had 1,000 yards last year. So DeAndre Hopkins averaged 50 yards a game. Great. Wonderful. 50 yards a game. Okay. I'm not thinking that's that difficult when you're the number 1 wideout in today's NFL. Do you? Do you? Sills, do you think Sproles is a Hall of Famer? Thank you for the doubles. No. I do not. No. Mm-mm. If Brian Mitchell's not, he's not even close to that. If Brian Mitchell is not an NFL Hall of Famer, Brian Mitchell was 10 times better. And he's not. Please hit the like button. We're going to go through week 9 of the NFL, some college football stuff too. But we're also going to get to the game on Sunday. Give me some scores for Sunday. Give me some scores. So wait a minute here. Why is this a big deal with Hopkins? Are you trying to make the comparison that DeAndre Hopkins going to Kansas City is the same as A.J. Brown going to the Eagles? Is that what you're trying to say? That you think DeAndre Hopkins is as good as A.J. Brown or the elite wide receivers in today's NFL? Is that what you're trying to imply? Because if that's what you're trying to imply, you're an idiot. That is not even remotely close. Okay? That's not even remotely close. No, Mo, I think he's Mo. Mo, I don't think he's a dude. Mo, I don't think he's a dude. I don't. Guys, please hit the like button. We're at the 10-minute mark. 15 minutes. Let's go here. Hit that like button. By the way, guys, give me a running total. I'd like to get to 100 in the first 15 minutes. Let's see if we can do that, because that starts to show off running. Look, I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to bring a lot to the table there. I do. I think he's going to bring a lot to the table, especially with the diminishing skills of Travis Kelce. I think he's going to help a lot. I do. So, I mean, I hope you're not implying that. Hurts has got the most talented offense in the NFL. No. DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones was out of gas last year. DeAndre Hopkins is not out of gas. Julio Jones had massive ankle issues and injuries in his lower body and around his legs. That's why he couldn't really be a factor his last 4 years in the league. He had massive injuries in the lower part of his body. And like I said, mostly around his ankles, and that's what caused him to kind of just fall off the map. But he was a great football player. He'll knock on the Hall of Fame door. Julio Jones, man, had a great NFL career. Probably the second best Alabama Tide player that Nick Saban had in his time at Alabama. Henry's the best. There's no getting around it. Derrick Henry's the best player he's had. Okay? You know, most of the players that go out on now we got to wait and see what Willie Anderson's going to do. Will Anderson, we got to wait and see what he's going to do, because I like the player, but we got to wait and see what he does. But quite frankly, there's no Nick Saban did not have a Hall of Fame NFL player on defense his entire time in Tuscaloosa. There's not one NFL player that will go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his time. Then again, he's a guy that produced college football players. And you know what he did produce? A lot of really good NFL players. But Hall of Famers, there's no Hall of Famers on that side of the ball. Henry's a Hall of Famer. And there's really no offensive linemen that were Hall of Fame football players. There's no quarterbacks. Depending on what Devontae does, could he be a Hall of Fame receiver? Julio Jones is going to get a shot. And again, it's not a rip on Nick. I'll tell you why. Name me a Hall of Fame basketball player that Bob Knight coached outside of Isaiah Thomas in his 29 years in Bloomington. Name me one. Name me one Hall of Famer Bob Knight coached, not name Isaiah Thomas, in 29 years. Okay? Name me one. You can't. He created great college players, and he created very good NBA players. Here's another one. Coach Krzyzewski. Name me a Hall of Fame player that he coached at Duke. Kyrie Irving. Kyrie played 10 games for him, but okay. Who else? Grant Hill. Okay. There's two. In his 35 years. Who else? Right? Two. Grant Hill, Kyrie Irving, and who? My point is that some of these coaches in college, they create really good professional athletes, but not elite. Not exceptional. Okay? Hit the like button, my friends. We appreciate you guys coming aboard. Thank you. I agree with Hurts. He makes plays, but he can't read the game mentally. Hopefully it won't catch up if take Jimmy Garoppolo type in our offense who spreads the ball around. Dotson's good to not be thrown to. Mo, yes, that's right. Garoppolo would be spreading the ball around more than Jalen Hurts because that's his skill set. Jalen Hurts' skill set, he's more athletic. Do you understand, Mo, the difference between a quarterback like Garoppolo or a quarterback like Purdy comes down to athleticism? Jalen's more athletic. Jalen can rely more on athleticism. And sometimes when you rely on more athleticism, you don't have the propensity to be a good pocket passer. And that's where he is. And that's why you're watching Lamar Jackson start to mature into being a better passer right now than he's been in the last couple of years. Todd Monken has worked miracles with him in his passing game. I mean, he's on pace for 37 touchdowns this year, like he did back in 2017. Sean, what about Surtain? Could be. We'll see. He's a heck of a football player. Heck of a football player. Absolutely. Sills, Bob Knight, Coach K, Saban, fit players into their system. They convince young players to sacrifice the individual for the benefit of the team. Very rare in today's environment. Yeah, that's why those guys, you see them as great teammates, but when you get to the NFL and they have to be individual superstars, they're really not. Alabama really has produced really good. And by the way, once again, there's a ton of them in the league. I'm not saying that. But I'm talking about the Ray Lewis type players or the Ed Reeds. There's none of those guys. And not at the volume that, say, maybe even Ohio State has been putting in. Okay? I mean, he produced a ton of good players. I'll tell you this. I think Georgia does an even worse job preparing guys for the next level. Look at how long it's taking these Alabama players in Philadelphia to get acclimated to the NFL. It's taken some of these guys 3 years to get acclimated to playing in the league. I mean, Nakobe Dean was nowhere to be seen in his first year. Second year also. Nolan Smith looked like he didn't belong in the league. Okay? I mean, Jordan Davis still looks like he's a half-ass player. Carter is getting there. Actually, Carter's probably more advanced than any of the Georgia players that I've seen come out of college. That's as advanced as you can get. I think it's got a lot to do with their rotating and the rotating of players. Okay? These people are paying $5 to $10 so they could talk to him. Yeah, what's your problem with that? You don't like it? You don't have to be here. No. You know what they do? Excuse me, Bob. Do you know what those people are doing? They're paying $5 to $10 out of the generosity of their pocket, not to talk to me, but to keep their place where they can come every day and keep it going. You want me to be transparent? Without them, I don't have a job. So if their kindness keeps the station going and it's the only place in Philly or some other places and some other markets that keep it going, what's it to you? What's it to you? We thank them. Isn't it crazy when people care about other people's bullshit like that? I don't get that. Word Hurts spread the ball with Kyler instead of Nick. Yes. James, thank you, my brother. Thank you guys for all coming here. There he is right there, by the way. Big maniac, man. This guy's one of my favorite. Okay? Love that. Thank you so much, Maniac. One of the true guys that's been here since day one. Thank you, Sue, everybody, man. I can't thank you enough. You guys put a smile. Hey, by the way, I said this before. I have been in broadcasting for 37 years. I've never had a funner time doing what we're doing now. Honest to God, man. Thank you, Sue. Appreciate all of you. Please hit the like button for us. We appreciate it more than you know. All right. Let's get into this week's football game. I think it's going to be an interesting game early. I do. I think it's going to be an interesting ball game. By the way, you want to hear something before we get going? Two things before we get going here on Jags and Eagles. Can you imagine this? Do you know what the big news right now? To show you about Kellen Moore. We're going to talk about Kellen Moore here also. You want to hear something crazy? So let me get this right. Cliff Kingsbury was in Chicago, and he wanted to work with Caleb Williams. And he wanted to be there with him. And he wanted that job as offensive coordinator, or he wanted the Eagle job. Chicago let him walk out the building. And look at the job Kingsbury's doing now with Daniels, who he had no idea. I'll say it one more time. Shane Walters, he's not the right coordinator in Chicago for Caleb Williams. You can see it. He's not the right guy for him. Dude, every single marriage, whether it's football or life, not everybody is compatible here. Not everybody's compatible. Sometimes coaches don't fit. Sometimes they fit in other places. Hey, how many times have you tried and gone for a job you thought was going to fit you, and when you got there, you hated it? Dude, I've done that a bunch of times. I thought me going to South Florida and going to Miami, WQAM, where I played my college bowl, I thought that was going to be a grand slam. I hated every human being on the planet in that building. Outside of Joy Taylor, I hated everybody. Get this. I left iHeart / Clear Channel. I was there 14 years. I was there. I loved 98% of the people in the building. I was down there at QAM for a year. I hated every human in the building. Not every place is going to fit. Not every place is going to fit, and every person that you work with is not going to fit. They didn't give Cliff Kingsbury, and Cliff worked with him at USC. Look at the job he's doing. They got the wrong coordinator around Caleb Williams, and you got a defensive-minded coach and Matt Eberflus. And like I said, we're going to get to Kellen Moore here in a minute. Oh, by the way, as we get into previewing Sunday's game, how about that Hassan Reddick? 8 pressures and a closeout sack. Gee, does that remind you of something? Did you see Reddick last night? Holy shit. Boy, did I miss that. Holy cow. If you're the Eagles and you were watching that last night, that guy was a force. You're getting pressure in the middle. Now you're getting it on the perimeter. Dude, Reddick was shot out of a pistol. A pistol. Fantastic. Saved their season last night. Unbelievable. 8 pressures and a closeout sack. Insane. Insane. Hey, get this. Look at this. Look at this guy, what he said. Hey, Sills, what's the Jets' record? You've beaten one team with a winning record. Don't sound like you're beating fucking teams. You ain't beating anybody. Who are you talking about? Guys that beat one team with a winning record. Sorry about the grammar yesterday. McNabb was allowed to watch from the sideline. It's all good, Mark. Talk about your grammar. How about my reading? Sorry about the grammar yesterday. McNabb was allowed to watch from the sideline his rookie season. Jalen Hurts was thrown into the fire with numerous offensive coordinators. Mark, it's true. But that's going to continue because that's the way the Eagles do business. Thank you for the super chats, guys. It took William Floyd a minute. Maybe Nolan can catch on. 2 extra Georgia guys. Hey, I get it. Sills was riding Burrow's nutsack. Joe Burrow's the 3rd best quarterback in the league. What's your point? He's the 3rd best quarterback in the league. He's probably had one bad game. Joe Burrow's the 3rd best quarterback. Hey, get this. Senor goes, Burrow has a losing record. That's not an indication on the quarterback. That's an indication on the team. Just shows you. You can have a great quarterback. If you don't have a full football team, you're not gonna do anything even with a great quarterback. By the way, Patrick Mahomes has a great defense. Joe Burrow doesn't. If Joe Burrow had a great defense, they'd be undefeated too. All you got to do is look across to the champion. Nobody on the planet except people in here would ever think Joe Burrow's is not a better quarterback than Wishbone Hurts. Nobody. Nobody. How about this? Do you think Howie Roseman would trade straight up Jalen Hurts for Joe Burrow? I guarantee you the Bengals wouldn't. I guarantee you the Bengals wouldn't. He would not. He would not. Yeah, baby. There you go. That's what I'm saying. 116. Hey, that's what I'm saying. Way to keep it going, guys. Okay? Well, what? The guy's negative? Well, what am I saying? It's not true. The Bengals would never take Jalen Hurts over Joe Burrow. But wait a minute. Let me ask this. How many people believe that the Bengals would trade Joe Burrow for Jalen Hurts? Just a question here. How many people believe they would do that? How many people believe they would do that? Let's see how many idiots we had. You said Joe Burrow's a top 3. He is a top 3. One of the top 3 talents in the NFL at that position. Jack goes laughable. I don't. No. I don't believe they would do that. Okay? Look at this. Guy calls me an idiot. Why? For what? Asking a question like that? To shut your face? Here's a better one. What's my career have to do with Jalen Hurts and the question I just asked? What's that got to do with anything? These people get so offended that they go personal attack. I love it. No wonder they say I have a Trump delivery. I mean, so you go personal attack? Hey, dude, I don't know you from a can of paint. I don't know why you're so angry. They would never. Okay? Let's see. Dude, you are ripping Sills for being an NFL player. Hey, Carmine. I know. I always find that funny. By the way, rest in peace. I posted a video of me on the field. My very first football game was against Walter Payton. And I know this guy's ripping me and my career sucked, but I did play against Payton. It was his last game at Tampa Stadium, and Big Sills was playing against that Bears team in 87, and it was his last time in Tampa. And today we lost Walter Payton 20 years ago, and Jared Payton is a Miami Hurricane, and I know him well, helped recruit him, love the kid, love the family. The brother also, Eddie, is an awesome friend of mine. He's a golf pro, I think, down in Mississippi. I think he's a golf pro down there. And we just want to send our heartfelt memories out. Rest in peace, Sweetness, man. What an absolutely sensation. You want to know what GOAT is? Walter Payton's in the GOAT conversation. That's a GOAT. Okay? Sills did play against Walter Payton. I put the video out there. I played in that Bears game, his last Bears game. And Summerall and Madden were on the call. How cool is that? Hey, you know what? This might be blasphemy, Walter. I think Saquon kind of runs like him. I think Saquon Barkley kind of runs like him. Runs the contact, physical like that. Walter Payton, okay? Walter Payton, no. Sills hip tackled Walter Payton. M. Reyes. I have to be transparent. So here's the story. Well, I promise you, we will definitely get on and we'll get to the preview. Here's my Walter Payton encounter on a football field. You ready? So I told everyone the story. Friday, I was preparing to play against the Florida Gators. Which newspaper can I find the stats from the game, Sills? That's awesome. I don't know. Oh, I know what I have. I have the box score, and I have the official NFL. I'll post that, Prince, the official NFL line for that game. So I'll make sure I put it out there for you. Okay, I'll make sure I get that for you there. So I'll post that. So Friday, I was getting ready to play against the Gators, and I got declared ineligible. I went to University of Cincinnati for a summer school, and I wanted to graduate. So I got an extra credit. Back then, you couldn't do that. You couldn't. I mean, they counted that shit against your eligibility and such. And I didn't know that. We didn't know that. So when I transferred to Miami, they took my senior year away. So that weekend, I didn't know what I was going to do. Coach Johnson said, come into my office. I want to show you something, Sills. Well, they're going to fly you up to Tampa. And I think they're going to draft you in a supplemental draft. By the way, Chris Carter went in that same supplemental draft with Brian Bosworth with me. And I was like, what? So I fly up, we go up there, and they meet with me, they talk with me, they do all that stuff. Oh, here it is. Here's the NFL's official. This is the official summary, game summary. I was a substitute in that game down at the bottom. Big Sills. It was my very first football game. I'm trying to find the stats there for you, Prince, in that game. Here's Big Sills playing against the Bears. I'm at the nose, playing the nose. Arm over. The Hildebert's got Big Sills. Not good. That's Peyton in the backfield there on the right. Boom, arm over. Double teamed. Shit. I'm moving the pocket like Jordan Davis. Boom. Look at that. Okay, anyway. So they end up drafting me. I get into I have my equipment. This is Sunday. It's my very first football game. And they go like this. They said, oh, here it is, Prince. Here's the official stats in the game. Let me see what I did. I had a goose egg. That's okay. It was like Jordan Davis. There's the Bears, and there's me down there at the bottom. It's my first game. I only played like 15 plays in that game. Look at the guys they had over there. Steve McMichael, Richard Dent, William the Fridge Perry, Mike Singletary, Wilbur Marshall, Dave Dorson. Wow, what a great football team. What a great football team, man. Dan Sileo. Hey, okay. All right. Hey. Okay. Trevor Lawrence been playing good recently. He has. Thank you very much for the super chat. Sills Huff. Wow. Okay, well, maybe. Hey, I missed 2 super chats, Xander. We can find them there. Guys, put it up there. We really appreciate you guys sending those super chats. Thanks for reminding me if I missed the 2 super chats. See if Xander can get those back up there for us, too. So, yeah, Xander, they said we missed 2 supers. Sills, who was the hardest and toughest player you faced? True. Bruce Matthews, Mike Munchak, Don Mosbar. I'll tell you who the best football player I ever played against was Eric Dickerson. Holy fuck, was that guy great. I mean, he was really – dude, Ray Donaldson was good. Ray was really good. Big C, he was good, man. Yeah. Anyway, so I get into the game. Walter Payton does this to me. I have no idea what the plays are. I just got there 48 hours. I didn't have any idea what the plays were. And so I go, what am I doing? I didn't know how to play nose. So they put me in the game. They do a down block. I'm standing there. Walter Payton comes running through the line of scrimmage. Bam! That little squeaky laugh of his. Irv Randall, John Randall's brother, is laughing behind me because he made me like kind of throw up a little bit in my mouthpiece. I was like, was hot as hell too, man. I was like, damn, thank God. He goes, somebody behind me went, it's second down. I went, shit. They did the play again. He fucking hit me again, almost knocked me out. I had never been hit by a running back that hard. I walked to the sidelines, man. Everyone's like, how you doing? I'm like, that's where I basically got how you doing. Because I'm walking to the sidelines. I'm like, how you doing? How you doing? Walter Payton, man. Two things. I almost got killed by Walter Payton, and I got a pinched nerve on the back of my neck from Ironhead, which lasts forever. Dude, Walter Payton was a tough ass, and that was his last year in the league, 87. He was a tough-ass football player, man. He really was, man. He was. Guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button. Thank you, guys. So Sam says what here? So wait, Sills, back to Burrow being a top 3 guy. Is our defense that good then? If we're holding a top 3 quarterback to 17 points? Totally getting better. That's for damn sure. Absolutely. Sills, Burrow or Jalen is a no-brainer, especially with the unit that Burrow would inherit. The only drawback is Burrow's health. Completely true. Hey, Bob, if Joe Burrow played on the Philadelphia Eagles, they'd score 50 points a game. Sills, you're hilarious, posting your stats. It's like, hey, but I'm retired, dude, and I never did this. Hey, I'm really great. Oh, by the way, they suck. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate it. That's a funny take, though. Thank you. See, that's why Xander brings that up all the time. I'm shocked you don't love Slay. He's a shit talker and brags. How come you don't like those guys? Same with A.J. Brown. I don't know, man. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. Okay? Maybe because I'm getting older, man. I don't know. Okay? All right. Here's my takeaway for this game on Sunday. 2-6 Jags, 5-2 Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of expectations for the Jaguars coming into this year. I had them for them too. They were expecting to compete for the AFC Championship. That's a given. On Sunday, Gabe Davis is questionable. Travis Etienne, their running back, their former first-round running back, is questionable. Cleveland, their offensive guard, is questionable, and they just traded away their right tackle to Minnesota. So, I mean, have they kind of pseudo-surrendered already? Sure seems it. Key to the Jags to watch here? Dude, I'll tell you something. This Brian Thomas kid that they have, is this the Brian Thomas kid from LSU? Is this the Brian Thomas kid from LSU that was in the draft this past April? He's a good football player. He looks like he belongs. He's putting up some decent numbers here, man. I'm not saying that he's going to be a superstar elite player, but he looks awful good. I mean, he gets separation, and he's a good football player. That's going to be somebody to keep an eye on. And he looks it. Christian Kirk is out. They don't have him. He was their main go-to guy, and I think that's affected the passing game a little bit. Saquon Barkley for the Eagles has been sensational. He's been the team's MVP. There's nobody on the Eagles that has played better on both sides of the football than Saquon Barkley. And it's really not close. You know, AJ's been banged up. Hurts has been up and down. Barkley's been just absolutely consistent, and he has been sensational. Sensational. If Dak was on Philly, they'd be a top offense. I know this because he had a top offense with less talent than Jalen. Philly would love Dak too. Kellen Moore would probably love him too. There's no doubt Saquon Barkley's been your MVP. He's averaging 5.9 a carry. That's incredible. Every time this guy touches the football, he's averaging 6 yards a carry. No wonder they're going and being more of a running football team. I would too. Every time a guy touches the football, he's getting 6 yards a clip. Well, I'm going to do that. And I have an offensive line and an offensive line coach like that. I mean, it's a no-brainer. The quarterback is too inconsistent to lean on. Lean on the run game. And to Senor's point, here, that's because of the Eagle offensive line. Come on, Sills. No, it's not because of the offensive line. You had Miles Sanders and you had DeAndre Swift both get 1,300 and get 1,100 yards. And that's because of the O-line. Yes. But this kid supersedes the fact that the O-line is great. He looks even better than what those guys did. I mean, those guys look like the same dude. Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift look like the same guy. Barkley doesn't look like those guys. Barkley runs with more of a physicality. Okay, he looks more like a physical football player. I'm not saying that the O-line's not helping him, because they are helping him. But he's better than those last two guys, and they were beneficiaries also of the Eagle O-line, but not to this extent. This guy is insane great. Like I told you, if he had played his entire career in Philadelphia, he'd be going to Canton. Dak had talent, but he still struggled. Dude, well, Hurts struggled too in the playoffs last year. He's had one playoff season that was effective. The other two have been nothing. Been bounced in the first round of both. He's never won a playoff game on the road either. I mean, that has to be an issue, and he's 2-3 in the postseason. It's funny, people go, we got to a Super Bowl. Hey, he's underwater as a record in the playoffs. He's never won a playoff game on the road. I mean, I don't know about you, but okay. Hey, Jimmy Garoppolo got to a Super Bowl. Awesome. I compare him to Garoppolo. Garoppolo got to a Super Bowl too, so. I mean, Sales question, if Slade doesn't play and Rodgers plays lights out, what do you do when Slade comes back from injury? Nobody's going to trade for him with a groin injury. Yeah, Xander don't want to trade him. He wants to keep him on the team. I'm going to tell you something. He ain't going to fish the year. I do not believe that guy has the body to hold up for 17 weeks. I do not believe it. Okay, is he a good player? Yeah, he's still got something in the tank left. And by the way, I don't see what everyone else sees. When I watch him play, every time someone gets behind him, he grabs him. He has to, because he doesn't have the same game speed any longer that he used to have. He's smart. He's getting away with two things: the scheme and his savant. He's a smart football player. He's a smart player. He knows when he's beat. That's why he grabs him. And it's called holding instead of pass interference. He knows what he's doing back there. Instead of getting pass interference, what does he do? He grabs him. That's holding. Automatically, he's going to get called on holding. That's only 15. PI is when you're turning and you're swatting. He ain't playing that game. You don't see a lot of pass interference plays on Darius Slay. Why? Because he gets the holding penalty on him. He's smart as hell. He knows the technique to play. Darrelle Revis played like that. Darrelle would never get beat. And if he did get beat, he'd reach out and hold him. You get a 15-yard penalty. Okay? Or at a 10-yard penalty. Yeah. These guys he's getting by on that. Okay? Slay is one of the least called PI corners in the league, and he plays man cover. He doesn't get this, and he plays man cover too. Dude, he plays zone defense. He plays, what are you talking about? He doesn't play man. He hasn't played man in his entire career. He got fired in Detroit because he couldn't play man. Slay is a zone cover corner. Are you hot? That guy made a lie up this year trying to tell you he plays man cover too. 2 high safeties, and he's 10 yards off the ball, and he plays man? When was that? I have yet to see that guy. Oh, wait, I did. When Matt Patricia did it. Slade plays man coverage. Dude, what game are you watching? He plays center field and makes $11 million doing it. And when he tried to play it in Detroit, they traded his ass. Dude, get this. Like I said, you've played one football team this year with a winning record, and that's Green Bay. The rest of them, you've played some good wideouts, but you played Deshaun Watson and you played, what's his name, Daniel Jones. Last week was great. But by the way, let's not forget something. Who completed those first 17 plays in that Bengal game? People keep telling me, well, Quignon's playing great and Slade's playing great. Well, who the fuck caught all those passes by the Bengals? If that secondary was so great against Cincinnati in that opening drive, who caught all them passes? Who caught all them passes? I don't think the Eagles are going to have a tough time moving the football against this Jags team if they run it. I don't. The Jags will have to play an A-plus game on offense. An A-plus game on offense. I think to keep it competitive and have 0 turnovers. It's a 7.5-point spread. The Jags, in 8 of the games that they've played, they've gone over 45.5. So they have put some points up. I say this with Hurts. If Hurts is around this room on Sunday, 221 passing, 37-40 rushing, he's in that room, it'll be a tough day for them, especially with Barkley. And the last 3 games, here's what the Eagles have put up: 30, 28, 37. So it's starting to improve because of the run game and putting points on the board. The Jags should score. There should be some points put on the board here. So who's the best Eagle quarterback of all time in your opinion? McNabb. That's really not close. Jaworski was a heck of a player, more longevity, but it's McNabb. And I can't stand the guy. Well, wait a minute. Let me take that back. McNabb had the best career. The best quarterback is Cunningham. The most talented quarterback you've ever had is Cunningham. The best quarterback is Donovan. Donovan won more than any quarterback in Eagle history in the postseason. I mean, he's got a great winning record in the postseason. I mean, he's gone to 5 NFC championship games. There's no quarterback in Eagle history that's won more. None. Number 5 will always love you. Reminds me of Big Sills saying that to his haters. Yeah. No, McNabb has had a great career in Philly. He did. McNabb had a great career. But my guy was Cunningham, because Cunningham, like I said to you, Cunningham was Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes. Okay? Why is it acceptable for a player to consistently fail? McNabb's the biggest choke artist who smiled at everybody, every bad play, and the guy who had your hopes up and threw it up right threw up right on the field. David. So in baseball, a guy who hits 300 fails 70% of the time. And if a guy doesn't win a World Series, he's not a Hall of Famer. He fails in baseball. You fail 70% of the time. In football, most of the quarterbacks that we talk about today have all losing records in the postseason. There's only 2 right now that are active that have postseason records above 500. I think it's Joe Burrow and Mahomes. I think golf's 4-4. I mean, all the quarterbacks have losing records. You all guys, they all have losing records in the postseason. Purdy has a winning record. Purdy has a winning record in the postseason. Okay? Maybe Flacco, maybe Joe, I'm not sure. Maybe Flacco does too. So Flacco, Purdy, Mahomes, probably only 3 guys. Russell Wilson probably has one. I think he's 9-7. I think he's 9-7. Guys, please hit the like button. But not your buddy Josh Allen. No, Josh has a losing record, just like Hurts does. Just like Hurts does. He's 2-3. Never won a game on the road. Any game in the postseason on the road. And actually, in every road game he's played, he's been murdered in it. I mean, so the Eagle defense has played well the last 6 weeks. I'm saying this. 33-17 Eagles. 33-17 Eagles. I think they're going to have a tough time staying close in this football game. God, I do. I think he's going to have – get this. Look at this guy. Well, what position does Joe Burrow play on defense? Wait a minute. About 20 minutes ago, you talked about a guy with a fucking record, and now you're talking about defense. When I bring it up, it's not been his issue. Now you're bringing it up with Hurts' defense? Holy shit, guy. Flip-flop! Josh Allen doesn't have anybody. That's why, Lawrence. Name me an offensive football player that could start in Philly that plays in. Name me one guy in Buffalo that could start in Philly offensively as a skilled guy. One. Go ahead, Lawrence. Name me one guy that could start in that Philadelphia Eagle offense as an offensive dude. One guy. The tight end? I don't think so. Over Goddard? No. Name me one player, and that guy wins ball games. Dude, I'm not doing the Josh Allen stuff with you any longer. It's an idiot conversation, and actually, it's below a conversation any longer. It's unbecoming. I mean, it lowers my intelligence talking to you, Lawrence. Talking about Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts in the same breath. It really does. It lowers my intelligence. I mean, so I'm going to stop that. I mean, it's not even close. Cosmo, why would you want Jeffrey Simmons? Are you going to pay that guy $25 million? What are you going to do? Give him Jordan Davis? Howie Roseman is not going to move off of Jordan Davis. He's not. He's not going to. Okay. So, here is the next topic. By the way, Xander will join us at 3:30. Jason Cole at 4:30, and our friend Philly Godfather at 5:30. Hit the like button. All right. So, ESPN had a comment today about Jalen Hurts. Is Jalen Hurts making the offense better Or is it Kellen Moore that's influencing the offense over the last 3 weeks? Has Kellen Moore, and I think this is funny, Xander. I brought this up the other day. Do you think Kellen Moore has made Jalen Hurts a better passer? Well, ESPN brought that topic up. And they say this, that Kellen Moore is influencing Hurts. And I say that's bullshit. Or am I wrong? Do you really see Kellen Moore improving the offense from a year ago? Especially this. Hey, here, ask yourself this. Is this offense better after the first 7 games than it was a year ago? Wait, Akbar, do you think this offense is better now than it was after the first 7 games last year? Do you? Get this. You were undefeated last year after the first 7, weren't you? Was it 7-0? Or were you 6-1? This offense is objectively better than last year. Are you kidding? So you look at this offense and you think this offense is better this year than it was a year ago after the first 7 games. You were 7-0 last year. Thank you very much, Samuel. You were 7-0, and M. Reyes says that this offense is better after the first 7 compared to last 7. I don't think so. I don't think it's better. Everybody was on pace for career years. A.J. Brown was putting up insane. Hey, that's a good point. A.J. Brown last year. Let's take a look at A.J. Brown. No, that's not fair because A.J. got hurt at the beginning of the season. Okay? A.J. Brown got hurt. So we can't say that on what he did a year ago because he missed some games. Okay? David asked a great question here. Seals, don't you think, though, that Barkley has added a new dimension? Absolutely. Okay? Get this. So, Senor says Barkley's going to have a career year. Well, that's not improving the passing game. Like I said, Hurts is on pace for 19 touchdowns and 3,600 yards. Where's the improvement? In him. So you're saying the more that Barkley's on pace for a career year, okay, I got it. So I think the defense and the quarterback is better than last year. Well, shit. You were second in run defense in the first 7 weeks, or first 7 weeks of the season. You're number 2 in run defense, and you were shutting teams down and shutting them out, actually, in the first 7. How in the world are you saying that this offense is better than it was a year ago? I don't get it. I mean, what exactly are you looking at? Oh, the last 3 weeks when you've run the ball more? Well, like I said, I'm talking about the first 7 weeks. Hurts these last 3 has okay, better, and better, in my estimation, and it's a pattern. Okay. So again, David, that means then the offense is not better right now than it was last year. Is that right? So what makes you think that's going to be a continuation right now, M. Reyes? Are you just assuming that? That last year, the scheme, the talent overcame the scheme last year, even though the scheme created multiple $1 million for your 2 wideouts and the running back to get an $8 million contract in Chicago, and everyone got extensions. They even redid the contract to Landon Dickerson, and you're telling me that that was such a viable mess up last year that everybody failed, but yet everyone got paid. And the only guy that didn't really take off last year because of the turnovers was the quarterback. And you're saying this offense this year is better. Wobbling around that you did for the first 4 weeks is better than it was a year ago. Where are you seeing that? And by the way, you're better because you're running the ball, better because you're spreading it around. Actually, you're limiting the passing game more. Is that how you're getting better? Okay. Like Xander said yesterday, is that going to be the new trend? You're not going to throw the ball more than 20, 25 times? Sure, that goes back into the scheme of 22. Sure. But don't sit here and try to tell me Kellen Moore's revamped this offense. He hasn't. You got a wide receiver who had -2 yards you paid $25 million to. Hey, man, that's just the way it rolls. Well, that's because you're running the ball. You haven't improved the passing game. And I will relent on this. Hey, AJ being out is a factor in that, and Goddard. Not that he can find all those guys. Get this. Now you're saying this. Then why were you guys posting last year 10-1? That 7-0 wasn't as it appeared. Well, how do you know this 5-2 is what it appears? Because of Barkley? All right. And because of Hurts? Because of Barkley? Sure. Dude, Barkley's carrying the mail right now. It ain't Hurts. You're hoping he's going to continue his trend of not turning the ball over. You know why I think this is a big game this weekend for him personally? Because on the flip side of that, you got a pretty good stretch of ball games where you're going to have to play at least B football to beat those teams. You're going to have to at least play B. You can roll your helmet out against some of these teams and beat the shit out of them, in my opinion. Running game is miles better than last year. Barkley Swift, Jalen looks faster this year. Okay? So the running game. You're right. Passing game hasn't improved. That's still a work in progress. You know why it's a work in progress? Limited availability of the receivers and the fact that the running game's picking up. So to sit here and tell me Kellen Moore has made some sort of magical imprint on the offense is asinine and stupid. They're going back to 22. They're going back to 22 because Barkley's making him and Hurts running the ball are making them go back to 22, Lord's grace. They're still struggles in the passing game still. Now, the running game has opened up single coverage. This is what they're finding out now. Saquon Barkley's importance to that huddle is the most important player in that huddle for your quarterback. It's not A.J. Brown. Because if Saquon Barkley gets taken out by an injury and you got Kenny Gainwell, they're going to double those wide receivers. And guess what? You're limited on your running game, and that thing's going to go to hell. Barkley's the key to this thing. He is totally the key. He's been your MVP. Why does Jalen not have a 300-yard passing game yet? That's not really that important. But other quarterbacks do because they got more skill set in the passing game. Dude, Forrest, Jalen is not a passing quarterback. He is not consistently going to give you 300 yards like these other guys like Jaden Daniels. I mean, he's not that skilled at it. He's a great athlete, though, when given the dual opportunity to run it and throw it. Like I said, 223, 225. 40 rushing yards, that's gold for that offense. Barkley gets 128. You're going to take that thing a long way this year. Lane just said it. Just said he, Milan, and Dickerson asked Nick to make the offense run-based. That's yeah. Get this. Hey, Big C, I want that confirmed. Where'd you hear that? Hurts needs everything around him to be perfect. A lot of quarterbacks do. Last year we had no blowouts. This year we have 2. I want that confirmed, that Lane and Mulata said that they went to the coaches and want this thing. Hold on for a second. So Mulata and Lane and Dickerson said they want this offense to be more run-oriented. Huh. They wanted to take the passing game and downsize the passing game, those guys, and take the game out of Hurts' hands a little bit and put it more in Barkley's hands and their hands. Okay. Interesting. Hey, wow. Eagle defense will complement the offense just like Mahomes' defense helps him out. Eagles defense getting turnovers now. Well, 1 game, but yes. So wait a minute. I got to see that. Jeff McClain. Are you kidding me? Is that right? Jeff McClain, I got to see this because this is an indictment on your quarterback. I've got to see that. I've got to see this tweet. If he really did say that. I got to find this. Here it is. Make it a little bigger, Xander, please. Here we go. Lane Johnson said some of the offensive leaders, particularly him, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson on the O-line, had a bye-week conversation with head coach Nick Sirianni about modifying the offense to be more run-based. You're welcome. Oh, my God. Can you imagine somebody going to Andy Reid and saying, can you take the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hand? Oh, my God. Can you imagine somebody going to Sean McDermott and going, hey, can you take the ball out of Josh Allen's hands and put it more into ours? Elite. Wait, Xander, one more. I want to read that one more time. Hold on here. So let me read it how Big Sil sees it. So a couple of the offensive leaders saw enough in the first 4 games of the year and went to the head coach and said, dude, we need to stop throwing the ball around the yard with this guy and run the football. We're the best part of this offense. Let's run the ball. Barkley's killing it. Let's do it. So they downsized the passing game. Thank you, Xander. Hey, it's always good to take the ball out of a $50 million guy's hands. Says, you've been preaching this for the last 2 weeks. Damn right. Take it out of his hands. He's just going to create turnovers. Absolutely. Running to open the pass is perfect for Hurts. Exactly, because that's what he does best. Exactly. Hey, why did it take the players to go to the coaches to point that out to them when the coaches were doing the stupid shit the whole time? Now you know why you haven't scored any points in the first freaking quarter, because those guys have their head up their ass in the passing game because Lord Laurie wants a passing game. You know what the players said? Fuck that. Let's run the ball. Let's do the shit we did in 22 that makes us great. The players had to tell the coaches to sit down. Cool. About time. It only took you a year and a half. Maybe if you did that shit last year, you would have saved a bunch of people's jobs, including the quarterback. Hey, right. How come it took a year and a half? Fields, can you blame him? That quarterback taking food off the O-line's tables by taking all those 10-second sacks. O-line guys are saying this quarterback is cooked. No shit, it's a total indictment on the guys. How about this? Wait a minute. Let me take that back. It's an indictment on what the coaches wanted the quarterback to do in the organization. They finally got told to shut the fuck up. Cool. Leadership. Yes. Hey, guess what? They finally heard you. Run the ball. The guy's not that good in the pocket. The run game's going to help him. Single coverage. It's like two different teams. First 4 weeks look like 23. Last 3 weeks look like 22. That just shows you how good they are, too, that they can adapt like that. Holy cow, man. They have been undercoached for the last year and a half because of mentality and ideology from the front office. The players had to go, enough. Enough. That's the best tweet of the week. Of course, the Chiefs don't have our O-line and Barkley. That's because you got, okay, you can have the O-line at Barkley. I'll take Mahomes. Apples and oranges, Hills. Where people arguing McNabb was better than Manning or Brady back then, Jalen wins consistently like the others do. Dude, again, you're completely missing it. Welcome to 1940 Philadelphia Eagles. Dude, don't you think there's a reason that you've only had one season with a guy? By the way, how many years? Look at this guy here. Mahomes ain't it right now. He's just 7-0. What a dumbass. How many years you guys been around as a franchise? How many years have the Eagles been around? By the way, thank you guys for the super chats. They mean a lot. This happened in the 21 season with Jordan Howard, Sills. It's 1948. They've been around since 33? You mean that's the best tweet of the last year and a half? Edgar, damn right. Okay, you've been around since 1933. How many years is that you guys have been around? Don't you think there's fucking a reason why you only had 4,000 passing yard seasons? Because you've been a predominantly run-oriented and tough-ass defensive football franchise for like 80 years. I mean, there's a reason you haven't had. Do you know that you in Chicago have the most pathetic history in passing quarterbacks of all time in NFL history? The Bears don't even have a 4,000-yard passer like ever, and they were founded in 1920. 13 years before you. And they don't have that. Run the ball, play defense. Monsters of the Midway, hello? If I'm Nick, screw the organization. We run all the way to the playoffs and further. Devontae. Yeah, hey, Devontae, let me say this to you. I say this is a winning formula. I'm not saying it's not. You finally figured out who the quarterback was. He ain't going to beat teams from the pocket. In all of their year and a half of bullshit, last year and the first 4, they finally went like this. The players went, man, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? By the way, you're right. Those Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift aren't great backs. You got one now, and you can see it. I'll tell you this. They were not going to strike out. They were either going to get Henry or Barkley. Both guys would have been doing the same shit here. But I happen to like the way it's fitting in Baltimore for Henry, and it's fitting in Philly for Barkley. They look like perfect, absolute fits for both franchises. Okay? Get this. Look at this guy. Hoss, the NFL is not a developmental league. This is not a developmental league. Developing? You know how you develop? By playing. Get on the field and play. Look at the quarterbacks. You think they're developing Bryce Young in Carolina? As soon as they see a guy, look, you think they develop Baker Mayfield? How many guys go other places and play well because the organizations don't sit around and develop any longer? They just don't. It's not a developmental league. Sills, the college game does not develop quarterbacks like they did back when we were kids, embracing the run, the pass. That's right. Which just would be an absolute no-brainer. Think about this, Bob, what you're saying here. When Ben Roethlisberger got to Pittsburgh, and think about all the quarterbacks that had early success between those 2004 quarterbacks that came out in that draft. I think it was Eli, Rivers, and Roethlisberger in that 04 draft. Who had the best run game? It was the Steelers with Bettis. He went to a Super Bowl. He never had a losing season in Pittsburgh. Eli had Tiki, and they won early. And by the way, Rivers had LaDainian for a bit, and they won. They went to an AFC championship game. When those guys went, like Russell Wilson lost Marshawn Lynch, it was over for him. Okay, Sills. So is Hurts a lost cause or what? No. They had an epiphany, and the players made them see it. The leadership went, if we throw the ball the way you want this offense to look, we're never going to win. If you put Hurts more in the run game and we resemble a little bit of 22, Hurts has gotten better and good enough in the passing game. He's better than he was in 22. Hey, by the way, do I think Jalen Hurts is better than he was in 22 as a skilled thrower? Yeah. As long as it's set up with the pass or the run, and you're running the ball effectively like you are. You're second in the league right now, 166.7. And as long as you're in that room, I think you got to improve on third down. You're 23rd in the league on third down right now. 22, you were third. And I think that'll come along. The reason you're so low is because you threw the ball in the first 4 weeks. And you had that shitty first quarter. So, taking the ball out of his hand and limiting his throws is a good thing for the guy. My bitch is about the organization more than Jalen. The players had to tell you who the quarterback was. By the way, I don't think the quarterback is not embracing it. So if it's landing like that and you think, I don't think Jalen thinks, I think he's all for this. Remember what he said at the press conference? He said this at the press conference. Everyone's got a role and you've got to take team statistics. I think he's talking about him. And you got to throw him out the window all to win games. Now I know why, because he's on pace for 3,600 yards, what Vegas had at the beginning of the year for him, and 19 touchdowns. I think that'll tick up. He'll probably end up somewhere around 37, 38, 23 touchdowns. But I think he's going to have like 600-700 yards and probably 10, 15 touchdowns again. And you're going to look exactly like 22, and you're going to be a formidable team. The key will be your defense, though, if it continues to improve. Look, finding the identity of the offense is the one part of this. Seeing consistency with the defense will tell us if they're going to be a true Super Bowl contending type team or a team that can go far in the playoffs. It's too early yet. They're just finding this now. They're looking and seeing, and I think they found it on offense. Now we got to see this on defense week in and week out. That's why this Jags game. You know what I'll be looking for with this Jags game? Hey, man, are you going to continue to play the way you are playing up to your ability? Or are you going to play down? Xander's like, this is fantastic news. It is. They, in theory, told them guys upstairs, that ain't working for us to win a title. Hey, you're going to win a ton of games that way, but you're not going to win a title that way. Remember what I've always told you guys. I never had a problem with Jalen Hurts 2022. You're going to win ball games. It's just not going to last as long as you think it is. I've never had a problem with the way Hurts played in 22. And if you stick to that kind of style, you're going to win games, and you're going to go and do things in the postseason. A year and 4 games, the way you were playing, you were not going anywhere. You were not going. He's a better thrower of the football now than he was in 22. Okay? Do you think they wanted to rush his development? It just didn't work out the way they wanted, and it just didn't work out the way they wanted. You know what they realized, Always Sunny? You're never going to get Jalen Hurts, a coordinator that is absolutely going to be a coordinator that's going to be around for a long, extended period of time to be able to develop the kid. But what he does do well is when the game is in his hands and he's got to make those RPO decisions, and now that he's a better passer now with single coverage, you're seeing it, especially against the Bengals. By the way, you know the most impressive throw I've seen Jalen Hurts throw? You know the most impressive throw was that 4th down throw to AJ, and he got smashed in the face on that throw. I'm sitting on the sidelines, or if I'm an offensive lineman and I watch him get crushed like that, and I saw his courage in the pocket, and they're running the ball, let me tell you something, man. You got a guy doing that shit and throwing pinpoint because the passing lanes are open because they're running the ball and all linebackers have to move up to the line of scrimmage. Let me tell you something. If that defense comes around and it is cooked by December, you're going to look a little like the Chiefs a year ago or 2 years ago when they beat you. Your success is now on that defensive side of the ball. If they stick to this, and I think they want to stick to it because the players want to stick to it now. Funny. No wonder the question was asked, and I think Jeff McClain asked it with Nick Sirianni today. He asked the question, how much of it is player? Nick really didn't want to answer it because he didn't answer it like Jeff McClain posted it. Because Nick was asked today, let me get to it. Yeah, Sirianni was asked about player involvement. And he said this. Yeah, no, it's kind of like collaborative. You know, the coaches will come up with something, we'll see something, and then we'll ask them how they think it fits. It's funny, right after that press conference, Jeff McClain posted that Lane, Millard, and Dickerson said, hey, look, we want this team to be a run offense. Because Jeff was told this probably by Lane or Jordan. Again, it's not bad news. Here, watch this. Steels, would you rather have the ball in Jalen Hurts' hand when he's running a style and a offense that resembles 22? Yeah. Yeah. Would you want him to have an offense that they've been running for a year and 4 games? Absolutely not. He's not capable of it. He's too underdeveloped. And you don't have a coordinator that's worked with him long enough. But by the way, it came, I'm just saying, for all of you that wanted to see that kid that you paid the money for, how come it took him a year and a half? You know why? Stubbornness. Front office. They went to the coaches and told them, we're not going to win a Super Bowl. Hey, we're going to win games, but we're not going to win a Super Bowl with this. And you know what you have? Those guys don't want to have Secretariat in the barn. They don't want Secretariat in the barn. Dude, has Hurts looked better since Barkley's arrival? Yeah. He's a 10-time better back than Miles Sanders and Swift. There's no doubt in it. All right. Boy, I'll tell you this, man. We might have the angriest guy in sports broadcast. I don't know. Now he goes after me. He's going after John McMullen. I mean, holy shit. It's like you unleash this viper. It's like unleashing this guy, this new superstar media guy. He's also the host of the pre-halftime and post-game show. Don't forget to check us out for Jaguar and Eagles on Sunday here on JAKIB Sports. And he also is the co-host of Birds 365. Shit, he's got John McMullen all mumbled up, man. John's a basket case right now. Xander's going after everybody. Me, John. Without further ado, we bring you Big Z, Xander Krause.
What's up, Big Cells? Want to promote Philly 500 today. Check out the shirt, everybody.
I love that,
my man.
Philly
Great
500.
Stuff.
Great stuff there. Guys, hit the like button for us there.
Little football Friday action today, Big Cells. Good start to the show, man. It was a good hour and a half. I've been listening in, and I'm loving what I'm hearing, man. I'm loving this tweet from McLean. I really am.
Put it up there for us.
Put it up. Put it up real quick.
What's your takeaway on this?
I think it's a great thing. Like, I don't think there's a thing about this tweet that I view as in a negative way. And the reason for that is because we've talked so much this season about what Jalen Hurts is, what his ceiling is as a player and as a passer. And ultimately, we know that Jalen Hurts in 22 is a good enough quarterback for us to get to the Super Bowl if they use him right. And this is a clear sign that they're going to start to use him right again. And it's not a criticism of Jalen Hurts at all. It's not. He's a great football player. He's not a pure pocket passer. So don't make him one. And now they're starting to embrace that. And I think it's a great thing. And, I got some tips with John McMullen I'm going to have to bring up on the show because it almost seems like he's straight gaslighting me. I mean, I asked him this morning, I said, so you're telling me, John, the only thing differently we've done on offense in the last 3 weeks is execute better. And
That's not true.
That's what he said. And I'm like,
but now the players have validated what you said.
They 100% did. And, I'll talk to John, but I'm not mad at John, by the way. John's entitled to his opinion and, it's great content. So I have no issue with it. But, I think it's a great thing, man. I really do. When you think, and Sills, I'll ask you this because I understand your criticisms of Jalen Hurts. I really do. Is 22 Jalen Hurts good enough for us to win?
Absolutely.
So isn't this a sign where it's like, This is great. This is exactly what our team needs to embrace.
But what have I been saying all year about? I told you and everyone this in week 3. Barkley's going to force their changing of what they're doing because he's inflicting his will in this offense. He didn't only find a role, he found the role in this offense where you're sitting there. He forced them to have to go back and change because of how dynamic he's been. Xander, this guy has had so much impact on that offense. Like I said, I'm watching the Bengal game and I'm doing this. Why are you single covering A.J. Brown as many times as they did? And you're limited out there on the corner. You had a corner that was even out and you're saying they were so concerned with Hurts and Barkley running the ball and getting yardage. They had to play the backers up and they had to play more man and sometimes even zone back there. Dude, single and double covering.
I'll add in the Jalen runs as well, by the way.
That's what I mean. Yeah. The Jalen runs is accentuating making those single coverages.
Because it's a +1 automatically in the game. And it's so hard to cover. Ask any defensive player in the NFL. I mean, it's so hard to spell a quarterback when you have a guy that can run like that. And Jalen's brought that back. this year. And I don't know if he forced the coach's hand, Saquon, but he definitely forced the offensive lineman who said they spoke up, right? I mean, why do you think Lane Johnson felt the need to go and say something? He's like, man, we got Saquon Barkley and the best offensive line in football. Let's use this thing right now. I'm not going to sit here and be naive and say, like, that's how you're going to win every single game. Obviously, every game is going to have its own identity. But to get back to this is a great thing. And there's one thing I want to challenge. I want to challenge the thought process. And I don't know if it's yours or anybody's, but I think it's out there. And I think there's probably a good portion of people that think this. And I'm going to challenge it for a second. So a lot of people say this is Nick Sirianni being naive, right? Like if a high schooler can see you should run the ball, or if I can see you should run the ball and you see it and everybody in the chat sees it, why wouldn't the coach do it? But I'll push back and say this. Think about the previous coach that we had in the city of Philadelphia. Think about beating the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field when Aaron Rodgers was at his prime, and him getting pulled into the office on a Tuesday morning. This was widely reported, and him being roasted because the owner didn't like the way they did it.
Correct.
And then think about that same coach who took us to a Super Bowl and won it with a backup quarterback, and then firing him 2 years removed from that because they didn't think he was the right guy. Now, I'm not trying to get critical on anybody, but this front office clearly has an ego. And I believe that they forced Sirianni into a box of, you have to coach this team this way, and we have to be successful this way, or else we don't want it. And now
do you do
it
that?
almost feels like maybe Nick Sirianni went up against the front office.
How do you do that without telling him that? You know how you do it? You pay certain people on your offense, and you know as a coach that they're not spending that money. And by the way, I know people hate when I bring that part of this up, but that's the NFL. You can't talk about a player without asking or seeing how much that player is on the salary cap and how much he makes in today's league without it being part of the conversation. So when you say, wait a minute here, the philosophy of the organization, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie don't have to tell Nick anything. Nick knows that because he looks in the room and he sees $51 million at the perimeter and he sees all that money being spent in the O-line. They've had Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift, fine backs. All of a sudden now you bring a legitimate, bona fide A back into the equation. That guy has shined so much that the front office is even going, shit, man. The quarterback, he is limited. They relented. My opinion, they said this, Hurts is going to be better like he was in 22 with less is more. They've thrown the ball less. They've run the ball more. And John's wrong. Now that we find out the players had an indicator in this and they had a push in this to look like this, this is not just players executing. This is a philosophical change that I said they had, and they had an epiphany in that bye week that they're going back to this. It is exactly what the three guys said and what McClain tweeted out that I said 4 weeks ago. This offense changed in that bye week, and that's why even Jalen Hurts went like this. It was probably the most constructive off week and bye week I've ever been a part of, because guess why? Players went in there. And by the way, Jalen's embracing this style. You can hear it because he said this too, Xander, in the presser the other day. He was saying this, hey, man, you know, we got to win and we have to win as a team. You got to put personal stats aside. Well, he's going to put personal stats aside this year because you know why? He's going to be around 23 touchdowns again and around 36 to 3,800 passing yards. But you know what you're going to be? You might be around that 14 win number.
Yeah, I wouldn't. If I were, I don't think. By the way, I don't think Jalen has that personality. I don't think Jalen.
No, I believe what he said. I believe.
Yeah, I don't think he cares about that. I think Jalen is fine. Jalen, look. Here's the one thing you can say about Jalen.
I'm not disputing that.
No, I know you're not. I'm just making a point about Jalen. The one thing you can definitively say about Jalen Hurts is the dude wins. He wins everywhere he's been. From Alabama. In high school, he won. At Alabama, he won. He won 10 games at Oklahoma. I mean, he wins. He's
semifinalist.
And I think part of that, to be that much of a winner, you got to be able to put a team first. And I think there's been no question about Jalen's ability to do that. Like I said, I would question more about, the directives and where they're coming from and whether they're Nick or whether they come from higher up. And now you got people in there saying, look, man, we got to run the ball. That's a better move for this team. And I think that's what they're going to start doing. And you see it in the last 3 weeks. I'm more pissed that John's telling me I'm absolutely crazy for saying the offense looks
trying to make you feel like you're blind. What are you talking about?
Man,
Your eyes look at the
man.
thing
I see it with my own 2 eyes, and he tells me to not believe what I see. But I get it. I mean, look, John, just because somebody tweeted at me with it. So I said, come on, J-Mac. And J-Mac, he already responded. He gave me a couple tweets. He's back to the justifying of it. But no issue with it.
So what he's saying that the players are lying, that they didn't.
No, he's not saying that. He's saying, so he says context incoming at SI because he's going to do a write a piece about it. But yes, offensive linemen like to run the ball. Went back to 2021 in Detroit, plus said we will have to adjust if they load the box. But it's Philadelphia. So the minute the people hear what they want, the minds turn off.
I'm not hearing what I want to hear.
We have to be prepared.
I'm reading what they said. I'm not hearing what I want to hear. I'm reading what they said and what Jeff McClain said. Holy cow. By the way, Jarrell, thank you. All super chats will be read at the end, I promise. Holy cow. Woo! John likes to, hey, talk about Mr. Filibuster. I can't wait to get his ass on the pre- and post-game show.
Yeah, we only got one.
That'll be very entertaining.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, though. So here, I completely 1,000% disagree with John. Okay? And I'll tell you why. Those guys were forced their hand because the running back has been the star of the game and been the star of the team.
Yeah,
the quarterback has not been the star of that football team. He's been the MVP for 6 weeks.
Yeah, but that's Sills spinning, trying to make it bad on Hurts. It's
You're
not
trying
a
to
knock
tell
on
me,
Hurts.
No. I'm not. No. The problem is he's not going to win you a Super Bowl from the pocket.
Yeah, but you're making it more about Saquon and Jalen's deficiencies. In 22, we didn't have Saquon.
No, he's expanding Jalen's strengths.
Yeah.
No.
100%.
Okay, no, that's not. No. I'm telling you that Barkley being in the backfield is accentuating the. Do I think he's a better passer than 22 and he's more accurate now? Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. Do I? Absolutely. Do I think that this guy running that style in 22, throwing the ball to single coverage guys, is going to have significance when it comes to the 2 wide receivers on the Y and Z? Absolutely. But it all starts with the fact of what Wink Martindale told Jalen Hurts last year, too. We didn't fear you any longer in the run game. You put him back in that run game with Barkley, I'm telling you, Xander, they'll never not get a third down. By the way, they're awful in it. Well, you know what? I guarantee you in 4 weeks from now, that ranking of 23rd, they'll be inside the top 10 in third down efficiency.
Yeah, I think the other thing that skews the third down is that the Eagles know they got 4 downs.
Well, they were third and 22.
Yeah, what are they in fourth down though? That would be a good follow-up stat to them struggling on third down, because if you get third down and you don't get it and you're 4th and 1, the Eagles convert it 95% of the time. So I'm not going to sit here and make a big deal about third down.
Look at this dickhead here. Throwing Jalen Hurts under a bus. What I've been proponent of saying I want Hurts to go back to 22 for 2 years. I don't know what the hell you're listening to, jackass. I've been saying, have I not said that, Xander? That I want this. The closer that guy's to 22, you can win with this guy.
Yeah, and look, isn't this the best sign? Yeah, you have, but yeah, look, I mean, people like Jalen, dude, that's fine. Spike loves his quarterback. You can't knock him for it. I mean, he was in there. Spike, I love you, Spike. But I got the receipt, Spike. You were calling to trade for Shedeur Sanders or tank for Shedeur Sanders after week 4, Spike.
No, thank you. No interest in that guy.
No interest either. I'm just saying, everybody's minds change. I mean, look, come on, man. You're talking to Philly fans. Nobody wants to hear that their quarterback sucks, whether it's true or not.
Well, he did suck for 4 weeks.
Yeah, and I told you he did. But I've also given him a lot of praise in the last 3 weeks because I think he's deserving of it. I think he's played really good football, and more importantly,
I think he's had one good game. But
football. You're saying he's not playing great football in the context of
8 weeks.
More so, though, in the expectation that he would succeed in the offense they used to be running.
Yes.
In the new offense, he's playing great football because in the new offense, You need to be an efficient quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over.
So we're going to cherry pick.
I'm not cherry picking.
3 games is cherry picking.
I know, but I said the first 4 weeks he sucked. But it was running a different offense, right? From the lips of Lane
last
Johnson.
3, he's better.
Yeah, but because they changed the offense up.
Okay.
So if you took that beginning offense, though, the first 4 weeks, and you told me his numbers his last 3 weeks, I would agree. I would say, yeah, he's been okay. You're not going to win a game with that. But because the offense has shifted, it requires a different version of the quarterback. And the one that's throwing 16 of 20 or 10 of 14 with no picks and no turnovers, you can win with that. You can win with that. And that's proven. We've won the last 3 weeks.
Do you think this offense right now through week 7 is better than week 7 last year?
I do, because I think the offense last year.
You were 7-0 last year, by the way, too.
I think the offense was ultimately trying to be something it wasn't, though.
How can you be better in the first 7 weeks of this season when you didn't have Devontae and AJ on the field and the quarterback was up and down all year, and say that the offense is better now than it was a year ago when you were 7-0?
Right. If you're looking at the whole body of 8 weeks, then sure, it hasn't been better. But you tell me all the time last year doesn't matter because they collapsed. So why does the first 8 games matter how good they were?
I'm asking you what kind of impact Kellen Moore has made on the quarterback so far.
Well, yeah, I think that's
context,
still.
That's where the context goes to. Is that the question would be, do you think in the first 7 weeks that he has improved the passing game, or do you think they went into that bye just like we were saying and went like this? Let's do this. Let's go back to limiting him in the passes, and let's go back to running the ball like he was in 22 and put the game more in his hands. Because,
I don't think it's limit. I don't even think it's about limiting.
It is limit. It's limited attempts the last 3 weeks than it was.
I think it's more about. I think it's more about though making the running. The running is the catalyst. You know, if certain games call for him to pass more, they're not going to not pass more. But the catalyst to the offense is not throwing the ball anymore. It's being the physical team and letting everything else open up. If we're down 2 touchdowns, Jalen's going to have to throw the ball.
Can somebody do me a favor and look at the passing attempts versus rushing attempts the last 3 weeks?
Oh, it's majorly skewed, no doubt. Yeah.
So do you think it's around 40, 38, 40 in there, like rushing attempts?
I would think so, right? I mean, I can. Let me pull up the team stats real quick, and I'll look for you.
I mean, because to me, and then you take a look at the first 4 weeks and tell me how that number looked. Now, Barkley got the ball early too, but the turnovers were coming at a higher rate early in the first 4 weeks.
So they had 39 carries in versus the Bengals, 22 for Saquon, 10 for Hurts, which I think is great. That's right where you want him to be, in my opinion. 10 carries, couple tush pushes. Make sure that the defense doesn't not fear you at all. 5 for Gainwell and 2 for Shipley. So that's, and Hurts was 16 to 20. So you're looking at
that's great.
39 carries and 20 passes. Now, granted, they did run 15 plays in the fourth quarter and 14 of them were run. So that is going to tip the scale a little bit there, obviously. It doesn't take a math expert to know that. And then the Giants game, Hurts obviously only threw 14 attempts, Pickett threw 1, so it's 15 total attempts. And there it was 45 rushing attempts, 17 for Saquon, 13 for Gainwell, 7 for Hurts, 8 for Shipley.
Last 2 games, 39 and 45.
Yep. Heavy run. Last 2.
Okay, 20 passes, 14 passes. See, John thinks that just because of execution. No.
Well, John thinks it's because you're winning the game. And, I'm like.
There's something to that.
No, there is. I mean, look, when you run 15 plays in the fourth quarter and 14 are runs, it obviously tilts the scale. But I think
I would ask John this question. Why is the first 25 plays majority passes? When they realize it's not working, they go back to the run.
I know. And then, I just think John leaves out context there. It's like, all right, I know the fourth quarter was a lot of runs, obviously.
Do one last one, Xander. Do the Browns game, too. I want to see what the differential was in that Browns game. I want to see
that was a closer game, so that would be maybe.
That's a better indicator, right?
Right.
It was a 4-point win.
So here we go. So Hurts threw 25 attempts in that game. Saquon had 18 carries. Jalen had 14, so he was up. That's 32. Plus 3 is 35 for Kenny and 1 for Dotson, which really was a sweep, I think. So you're looking at 36, but kind of a. So Jalen had a lot of runs in that game.
How about this? 36, 45. 39 in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, when 36, 30.
And watch this, 25 passes, 14 passes, 20 passes. You're trying to tell me that that's not something that was an organizational change and a pivot, that those guys did that? I guarantee you, if you look at the first 4 weeks, there was a lot more passes in those games than there were what they've been doing the last 3 weeks. And it's because Barkley has been a horse. Barkley has forced them to ride this guy. I'll tell you this, screw saving him. I'm going to run that bitch until that guy's shoehorns come off.
Yeah.
I am going to run him, and I'm going to run his ass.
Yeah, they're going to. I mean, they want him obviously to make it to the end of the year, so they're going to manage that, but they're going to. And it's this is what we should be doing. And it's not I mean, for the people who take it as a criticism, kind of like you portray it.
I didn't portray it that way.
Oh, yes, you did a little bit.
They took the game out of his hands because in the passing game, because they know that he's not going to win a Super Bowl from the pocket. That's a fact.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't view that as a
shitty passing. It's not going to win you a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't view that as a criticism of Jalen. I don't. It's just the type of player he is. That's the guy we brought in here. That's the guy that they put their eggs in his basket. So accentuate him, make him great. And I think the best way to do that is.
How come it took you a year and a half to figure it out?
Well, they had it figured out in 22, and it worked damn well that year. And then for some weird reason, they went away from it.
Let me go back to an Angelo line, because that guy upstairs is the yachtsman. He loves to be right. See, what he wants is he wants to have a prolific passing game. Philadelphia has never had a prolific passing game in the history of the franchise since 1933. You have never had one.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had a quarterback. Have we ever had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards?
One.
Jalen or Wentz, right?
Wentz.
One time.
One time.
Wait, the craziest stat part about that season is he didn't have one receiver over like 500 yards.
No, insane. No wide receiver that year over 500 yards, and he had, and like I said, 4,033, I think it was, that he threw.
It's really funny because it makes you wonder why Lurie is if it's Lurie. Like again, I can only speculate on it. It does seem like though, like when you add up the trends with how they handled Doug and stuff, it's interesting. Like Philadelphia is kind of the king of the dual threat black quarterback before it was popular. Randall. I mean, Vic, McNabb, all of our quarterbacks. Like, why would our owner not look at that and embrace that? Right? I mean,
Nick Foles, even though to an extent, running that RPO.
Well, yeah, they did the RPO for Nick without kind of running them. But I know what you're saying. You just would look at it and be like, why wouldn't the owner embrace that more? Or why wouldn't they embrace that as a team identity overall?
Too,
I mean, you take Jalen Hurts and you're trying to make him into something he's not. Like, no shit, he's not going to look right. It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't.
I keep banging my head against the goddamn counter here for the last year and a half going, why are you doing this? What is the end game to this? And you're paying these guys. And last year even, those wide receivers had career years and Hurts had a career year in turnovers. Gee, what was the difference? You had him throw the ball more. Now you're downsizing that. By the way, less is more with him. And people are going to take that like you did as a rip.
Look at that super chat. That is great.
Well, Sills is like my wife. Admit.
We all deal with that if you got a check. It's such a great comp. Sills is like the checks in my life.
Sid, we're boys. We're going to be not boys for a minute here.
Sydney's my boy for that one. That's a great comment from Sydney.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's about time they took the ball and downsized his passing game. He's not that good at it.
And there he goes.
Nope, but it's a fact. And get this. The numbers dictate it, and the trends, according to you, dictate it.
Oh, yeah, you tell me whenever it fits for you, the trends are your favorite word.
It's not fit for me. It's what they've done the last 3 weeks. 25 passes, 14 and 20. What else?
All right, where are the people in the chat? I want to talk to the chat for a second, both me and Sills and I here. Where are the people in the chat that aren't particularly a huge fan of Jalen Hurts? I know we have a bunch of them.
Brian, where are you?
Brian Pumper. I mean, we got a bunch of them. Where? Because I'm curious to hear about. Do they believe we can win with this setup versus what we were trying to be in the last year and a half?
Yes.
Latin, we'll get to them. We normally get to all super chats on my segment at the end of it.
We promise.
So, Latin, it's just kind of easier because we post out the segment after the fact, and people who watch it after
I still got to
and
get
then we
your
get to the
prediction
supers at the end. It
before
works well. So we'll get to yours, Latin. We
that. Yeah, I
promise, man.
promise. All super chats will be read.
Yeah, we got Jarrell. We got a bunch of them. So we'll get to all super chats, man.
So wait, yeah, you can win. Yeah.
Yeah, so people in the chat, can we win? I mean,
Yes.
James A., you say you're not a fan. Brian Pumper, can we win with this setup? Can we win relying on the running game, building through physical football, stacking on top of that, and trying to be a more versatile football?
Well, let me ask you this, though. Do you think Baltimore can?
Well, I think I honestly, and I said this the other day on the show, I believe it's a little bit of a different beast in the AFC. Because if you told me I had to go through the playoffs in the AFC, even the teams at the bottom who might make it in on a wild card in the AFC, what are they doing? They're throwing the ball like the Justin Herberts of the world. Everybody over in the AFC, it's built like the AFC in that it's not physical football. It's old school AFC where they pass the ball a lot. So it's a different game, and that's where I think Baltimore is fighting an uphill battle. In Philly, you got to go through the NFC. I believe you can blow any team off the page if you out physical them in the NFC. I really believe that. I mean, even look at the top teams in the NFC. Jared Goff.
Here, that's where I'm going. Get this: if you're in the AFC, there's a strong chance. If you're CJ Stroud, you have to go through Herbert, Mahomes, and Lamar to get to the Super Bowl. If you're Jalen Hurts, you probably have to go through Love, Stafford, Purdy, and Goff. Okay, I mean, the other ones, Lamar's a 2-time MVP. Mahomes has won 3 Super Bowls, and Herbert's considered one of the better passers in the sport right now. And plus, he's got Jim Harbaugh here.
Do you think the Jets have any chance to get into the wild card?
I think they did a saving of the season last night a little bit, but that win could be a little bit of fool's gold because of the wideouts that were not in that game last night for Stroud. But I'll tell you,
can we just talk about him for a second?
Hey, one thing is evident though. How about that guy that was on that perimeter, man, with them 8 pressures and that closeout sack last night? Yep. Hassan Reddick was a weapon last night, and boy, did that thing look. My first thing when I saw him, I was like, can you imagine him on the other side of Josh Sweat rushing that passer right now in Philly? And then you had rotation pieces that were going on with Nolan Smith and Huff. How about Nolan Smith, Hassan Reddick, and Huff and Josh Sweat as a rotation with your 2 tackles in the middle with Brandon Graham? Dude, Howie missed up and fucked up on that. But hey, let's do this too. Hassan Reddick also was a disaster for himself and shot foot twice.
Yeah, we don't know fully what happened, but I do think Hassan was a tough guy to deal with. So maybe that went into it a little bit. And by the way, we got to talk about CJ Stroud because I do think, look, the dude loses his weapons. What's he look like? He looks pedestrian as hell. So I'm just trying to keep that consistency. We criticize Hurts when he goes down. Well, CJ's been talked about as a top 5 quarterback in this league. We might have jumped the gun on that.
In his second season and still working his way and learning how to win without his guys.
Oh, that's fine.
This is his second season.
I'm not being overly critical. I'm just saying when Jalen struggles without the weapons, everybody.
Well, Jalen's a 5th-year veteran. It's a little different than a guy who's going into a second.
It is a little different. I would agree. And look at Bob. This is why Bob is just such a legend because he's got really sound, great takes.
Great takes.
Xander, not a fan of how JH was used. This JH in this run-first system is a winner. We have what Baltimore is missing. We have the knockout punch with Smitty and AJ. Boom. Boom, Bob Brown.
Hey, Bob, I think your knockout punch is Barkley.
Well, no, he's saying that the system is Barkley, and in the end,
yes.
They're the jab and the punch.
Yeah,
and when that gets taken away, or you get into a different type of game, now you have your haymakers with Smitty and AJ, and Jalen has shown he can get the ball to them for sure. So I think that's a really good take by Bob right there.
By the way, we're gonna get to you all the super chats. I swear to God, Keith, you're right. First 4 games is a little bit like the preseason here. In addition to not having the players on the football field, you're going to get inconsistency, and that's why you're getting a little bit more stabilized football over the last 3. There's truth to that. Thank you for the super chat. There's truth to that, Keith. Keith, that's a very good take.
Yeah, it is.
And we'll get to all your super chats here in a second. Please hit that like button. All right, let me ask you this, Xander. How do you see this game against the Jaguars on Sunday?
Sills, did you give your score prediction yet?
Here, let me go through mine, and then you follow up on it here. Okay. I said this. I go, They got Gabe Davis, and they've got NTN, and they've got Cleveland, their guard, all questionable for this game. They got a really nice player. That kid from LSU, Brian Thomas, looks like he's a player. He looks like a really good
May or may
fit.
not play, by the way.
Okay, then that, along with the fact they don't have Christian Kirk, then you have Barkley. They're not very good against the run. He's averaging 5.9 a carry. The Jags, without a doubt, I think for them to play close in this ball game, they're going to have to play A+, no turnover football. It's a 7.5-point spread, and in the 8 games that they've played, they have covered the 45.5, which means they do put points on the board. I said if Hurts hangs around 230, 36 rushing, somewhere in there. The last 3 games, 20 points, 28, 37 have been for the Eagles. I said without a doubt the Eagle defense, it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because I do believe Jacksonville is going to score. And I do think Jacksonville can move the sticks. I don't think that Trevor Lawrence has played poor ball. He's actually played pretty decent ball over the last couple of weeks. But I do think it's a 33-17 game. I just don't see where they're in this thing. For them to play great ball, the Eagles are going to have to turn it over. They're going to have to do something uncharacteristic. And the Jags are going to have to play an A+ game to win this ball game. If they're, how about this? Not even to win it. I think just to hang in it.
I know. And, me and you are seeing this game very similar. It's, I don't see how the Jags can score in this game. Like, dude, you're missing your top wide receivers, really 3 of them. Now, they might have Brian Thomas play. I mean, are they going to try and run all over us with Tank Bigsby? Like, I don't know. I don't see it. So I'm struggling to see if our defense continues what they've done the last couple of weeks. I don't think the Jags are going to score very many points. Now, you had them at 17. I have them at 10. I just don't see them getting a lot of points in this game. I think it's going to get kind of maybe carried away a little bit early. I have 34-10 the Eagles, just because I think there might be some touchdowns late in the game with Shipley and guys in kind of like not garbage time, but basically garbage time. I mean, I don't see this team, man. I don't see it with the Jags. Now, I will say this. They've played a couple good teams really close this year. They lost on a field goal last week to the Packers. They lost, I believe, early in the year. They lost to
KC?
No, they lost. Who'd they lose to early in the year by field goal? Oh, the Dolphins, and then they lost to the Texans by 4 when the Texans were healthy. Then they got blown out by the Bears, and they got completely dismantled by the Bills, 47-10. So, they're kind of an up and down team. I just don't see it with these injuries, man. I mean, their 2 guards are banged up. They just traded away their left tackle. I just don't see it with the Jags. So I got 34-10 Birds. I think it's going to be a big win.
You tell me if you think that Trevor Lawrence has had a bad season. 1835 in passing yards, 11 touchdowns, 4 picks, 93.9 quarterback rating. And he's on pace right now for 3,900 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. When people say that he's played poorly, I don't see that. I think that he's been inconsistent in game situations, in certain situations in the ball game, where he's done something that Josh Allen did a couple of years ago. How many times do we say this about Josh Allen? Man, it's not the turnovers you matter. It's the timely turnovers that matter. And I think Lawrence falls into that a little bit. That, like, it's a critical red zone. They're in the red zone, right? He'll freaking turn the ball over in the red zone for them going in for a scoring drive, and it stops momentum. Like those 2 games they had in Europe, when they were over in Europe, their first half was awful, man. I thought Doug was going to be left at a pub in London because it was so inept. Second half, they rallied. The defense played pretty well. That's another thing too. The defense has absolutely struggled.
Well, wait, let me get in, because this is where I'm going. And, I think you bring up a good point there with Trevor Lawrence. I don't think he's been as bad as people making him out to be. He's a competent quarterback. He's obviously not lived up to the hype of the 1 overall pick, and he has an elevated member. He is in Jacksonville, everybody. Like, they're a bad organization. But you know what I think the biggest thing right now that's created a hurdle for Trevor Lawrence? Listen to these numbers. And I would encourage everybody to think about what our quarterback or any quarterback in the league could do when this is what's on the other side of the ball. These are the Jaguars' defensive stats versus the pass.
Terrible.
Completion percentage, they're 28th in the league. Yep. Yards per pass attempt, they're 30th in the league. Passing touchdowns given up, tied for worst in the league. Interceptions tied for 28th in the league.
Look at third down.
Passing first downs, 31st in the league. Pass plays given up of 20-plus yards, 31st in the league. And opposing passer rating, 31st in the league. They're 31st in damn near every metric in the passing game. So I'm not the biggest Trevor Lawrence guy, but what the hell is he supposed to do? His defense can't stop a nosebleed.
Correct.
So it's kind of a tough situation.
It's hard, and it's hard to develop a quarterback when you're constantly in bad field position, when you're getting the ball back and you're on the 10 because your defense is laying an egg out there like
100%,
that
100%.
and going up and down the field.
Raj says BS. Raj, come on, man. You can't. Defenses. Look at Mahomes right now, Raj. Why is Mahomes succeeding? Why did Brady win so many Super Bowls? Defense. You need a good defense. This is the ultimate team game. It's one of my favorite things about football. We can sit here and debate quarterbacks, It's a team game. If your defense sucks and you're 31st in the league, you got no chance to be successsul, man. You got no chance. I'm not saying I love Trevor, but I think it is messing him up for sure.
What do you make of this? Who's going to block Trayvon Walker? He's got 7 sacks.
Wow, he's at 7 sacks this year?
Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that. That's
6.5 actually.
I should have had that info.
I think he's 6.5.
We'll see, because when he came out, I kind of thought he was a big letdown. But I mean 6. Where is he at? Yeah, 6.5 sacks, man. That's impressive. Yeah, I mean, look, he mostly lines up on that right side, which is Lane Johnson. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you I worry about Lane Johnson. What I do worry about is Josh Allen.
I think he's got 3 heading into this.
Yeah, but here's Josh Allen's 8th in the league in pressures. So I know the 3 sacks isn't a huge number.
So those are the 2 perimeter rushers, is Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, so Josh Allen, he only has 3 sacks. So people are like, okay, but here's the other stats, right? Last year, by the way, he had 17.5 of them, 2 forced fumbles last year. So he's got 3 sacks this year, but he's got 30. What's that?
That's why he's making 30 now. He's signed that deal in the offseason.
He's got 23 pressures this year, Sills. That's 8th in the NFL. So it's not a pressure problem. He's getting there. He hasn't quite finished as much.
Walker's benefiting because he's probably pushing the pocket.
Exactly.
Where they're weak is in the middle and pass defense.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I mean, he's going to be a problem. And Fred, it's a different type of player. Like Fred Johnson held up really well last week versus Trey Hendrickson, another 7-sack guy. He did a great job. Josh Allen's a different type of player. Trey Hendrickson is not a major speed guy where he'll burn right by you. Josh Allen is fast as shit, man. That dude is a beastie player. So he'll run right around him. And that would be the worry, but I think he'll be all right. I mean,
I was shocked to see 6.5 by Walker, though.
Yeah, impressive.
Yeah. He's having a really good season. For that team to only have 2 wins right now, this is a must-win for them for sure here. How do you look at this game, and what's the score you're looking at for this game?
I put up 34-10 is what I said.
34-10 you got. All right.
Yeah. I just don't see the Jags being able to score a lot, man. They got nobody.
A lot of guys banged up. Is NTN playing?
I don't know. Last I checked, NTN was questionable, but
I think he's still questionable. Probably going to be a game-time decision. Now, the Eagles have some injuries. Carter's shoulder.
Trending toward a return, but it hasn't been confirmed yet.
Dallas Goedert hurt. Slay. What about Slay? Slay groin did not practice.
Slay's not. I don't think Slay's going to play. They just ruled him out. Slay ruled out. Just got ruled out a second ago.
Guys, do you remember what Big Sil said yesterday about Slay making it the season? Remember when Xander was so against me trading him?
All right, here we go, though. I got the update on the Jags. All right, we got a lot of questionables. Out is Ezra Cleveland, starting guard. That's the guy that played next to the left tackle they just traded. Jalen Carter is going to feast in this game, dude. Jordan Davis should have a good day, too.
This game should not be close at all, dude.
Christian Kirk, obviously out. We knew that. DT Mason Smith, he's out. So he's the guy in the middle on that other side. He's out. And then questionables are Tank Bigsby, questionable. Gabe Davis, questionable. Etienne, questionable. Brandon Sheriff, guard, questionable. Brian Thomas,
You're going to roll out a practice squad.
Dude, that's what I mean. That's why I have him scoring 10. I'm not even trying to shit on him.
Oh,
I got him scoring 10 because who the hell's playing?
This is a nothing game for me to take anything away from on Sunday.
Well, that's kind of a reality. I mean, the Eagles should throttle this.
No, not true. I'm trying to be a dick here. No, I want them to play to their level.
Yeah.
Play to your level. Don't play down to it.
Yep.
Don't let them hang around. Hey, put the sleeper on them.
Yep.
Get them out of there. Put the sleeper on them there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
wait a minute. Let me go back before we read our supers. So Slay's out.
Slay's out.
Big Sills.
Man says, what do you do, Xander, if Rodgers plays lights out while Slay's out?
Yeah, what do you do, Xander?
Well, listen, for anybody wasn't here yesterday or who didn't catch our segment yesterday, we had I thought that was a good conversation, by the way.
It is.
Both of us made pretty good points. We debated, would you trade Slay here at the deadline?
And what was my contention on that?
Your contention was get rid of him and play the young dudes.
Because he's not going to make the season and he's going to be in and out of the lineup all year. And now he's ruled out.
And my pushback to you is that when you believe you're a Super Bowl contender, you don't subtract from your roster in week 8 of the year. That's an off-season move. You're in week 8, and we're saying we're a Super Bowl contender. You don't get rid of a captain corner 8 weeks into a Super Bowl potential season.
He ain't making the season.
You don't trade him. I'll stick by that.
Okay. He's not making the season. He can't even make it to the Jags. All right. Hey, isn't it funny? Folks, you see, Big Sills is like this big O-ass Nostradamus, man. I see something next day, the kid's not playing, he's not active.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
He's not active for the Jags game. Holy shit.
You gotta be kidding me.
Wait a minute, though, Sander. If you are going to miss a game, you might want to miss this one because I think this is a layup game. Hey,
yeah,
dude,
they don't even have any receivers playing, man. Good, Isaiah. Go feel better about it. Go boost your confidence a little bit by playing.
I know, but I do want to get Isaiah Rodgers on the field here.
Yeah, I mean, look, Slay is 34. I mean, do we have an issue with them managing him till late in the year? By the way, he's played great cornerback when he's on the field this year.
You and I see differently. I don't.
Okay, why? Okay, why?
I just see decent quarterback.
Teams don't even target him.
I'm sorry, Deshaun Watson targeting anybody?
Deshaun Watson, everybody.
What about Daniel Dimes-Jones?
What about Joe Burrow?
What about Joe Burrow? He went 17 plays the first series.
And not one of them was targeted to Slay's side of the field.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. So Quinyon's playing A+ ball and Slay's playing A+ ball, but Joe Burrow went 17 straight plays and was 13 of 14.
You know what corner reminds me of? I'm a hockey player. So in hockey, there used to be a thing. You never want to hear the defenseman's name, right? Because if you heard his name, the motherfucker got burnt.
Yeah.
Same thing with corners. You don't hear about Slay much because they don't go to him, dude. They don't throw to him. So for all the talk about Quinyon Mitchell being great, quarterbacks are testing Quinyon Mitchell a lot more than they're testing Slay. And by the way, that breakup in the end zone versus the Bengals was a thing of beauty. That was perfect cornerback play.
He's an old lady. This guy is an old lady, man.
He's a sick motherfucker.
He's an old lady right now, man. Are you crazy? Get the young boys out there, man.
Yeah. When Isaiah Rodgers gets burnt, what are you going to do then?
Hey, we'll just put Slay back out there so he can grab him.
Well, from your estimation, you're ready to trade him for a pack of crimpets.
Because he's going to break down. This guy's in and out of the lineup. Holy cow, broken down. He's a broken down car.
Trade Slay for a pack of crimpets and some tasty cakes, everybody.
Couldn't trade him for anything. Hey, by the way, real quick, what do they do for Brad? What do they do with Bradbury? He's about eligible to come off that IR. What are you going to do with him?
We're talking about Bradbury. I think they've taken their losses on Bradbury. They just admitted they're going to pay $11 to a guy who doesn't see the field once this year.
I don't think
Bradbury. They're not doing.
I think it's $11 million more than $11.
$11 million. That's what I said. $11 million.
Okay. So you're going to keep two guys. One guy can't play, and the other guy plays sometimes.
Who gives a shit if the defense is good?
Oh, hey, pay away. Pay away. Let's read those super chats. Read them to Nostradamus. Folks, you should have been here yesterday. I'm like, the guy's not going to be a guy who's going to be consistent. Next day, it was almost like the Sills Maloikis. Bang! There he is. He's in action.
Is the 500 shirt fresh or what?
It is.
Look at the cigar.
Wait a minute. Watch this, folks. Wait a minute. Watch this, folks. Yeah, the 500 shirt is really great.
I got no money left after I picked
after today, he doesn't.
I got no dollars left to make a Sileo
Hey,
shirt.
listen, after today, he doesn't have a shirt money.
I got no shirt money.
Hey,
Sorry, Sills.
You know, but wait a minute. Yeah, no.
Maybe if I start docking you for all the times
Hey.
you're 5 minutes late, I'll be able to have a few peanuts for a shirt.
Hey, well, hold on for a minute. Yeah, the shirt looks good. It's great. Let's get to those super chats, man. I know he's crying poverty to me now. Go ahead, man.
That 500 shirt is fire. It is fire. It is.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
It is fresh.
Sure.
All right, let's get to some supers, man. Let's get to some of the great people of JAKIB Nation that make it all happen, man. We appreciate everybody.
Yep.
Abe says, we stopped Dexter by running it. Do it again.
Okay. Do it again.
Abe, here's the thing, though, Dan. This pass defense is so bad, I got a feeling they might get a little giddy with it. We'll see what happens. Brian Pumper says, to compete for a title, we need an edge, obviously, but underrated, we need a starting running back next to Barkley. Go get me that Jags running back. Hurtsy can win with this. We don't need another running back. Gainwell's fine. What do you mean?
Yeah, Gainwell's fine, too.
What, are you going to half Saquon's touches, Brian?
No way. He's fine. Yeah. He's fine.
Yeah,
Brian,
I don't think we need another back.
Hurtsy? I like that. Jalen Hurtsy? Good. I like
Look
that.
at Brian checks in again. I'm trading Banana Pudding Slay for an Andrew Bynum 76ers jersey and a Gabe Kapler audio reading of The Great Gatsby. You got to be, dude, this guy, Brian, he's got some real humor to him, man. He's a funny ass dude.
He's quoting me, The Great Gatsby. Good. Brian, Big Sills, F. Scott Fitzgerald. Is that correct? Am I right when I say that? Go ahead.
Brian, why do you do this to me when I'm on with Sills? Bruce Ditness checks in with his $10 super sticker. Thank you, man. Appreciate that support, Bruce.
Thank you very much.
We read this from Keith, but I'll give Keith another shout.
Nice
Keith says, Sills, to be fair, as Merrill stated yesterday, the first 4 games are like the preseason. In addition to not having your players, the team has found a groove via the run pass over the last 3 games. Yes, sir, Keith, they have.
They found a groove because the guy said take the ball out of that stiff quarterback's hands and put it in the hands of the Barkley guy. That's what's happening.
What a stupid comment from Dan Sileo.
Absolutely true. Hey, when you got a quarterback that throws the ball 14 times like that, whoa!
Sydney, Sills is like my wife. Admit, but
I
not
hate
really.
this one, Sydney.
The Latin Inferno checks in. Latin, appreciate you, bro. I told you we'd get to you. If the Eagles stay with the running game and the defense continues to improve, this Eagles team reminds me of ... early 90s Cowboys.
Are you comparing Jalen Hurts to Troy Aikman now?
Well, listen, Troy Aikman was not a stat guy.
No.
Correct?
Correct.
You're telling me Hurts shouldn't be a stat guy. He's not.
50 or 60 quarterbacks in NFL history that have more passing yards than what Troy Aikman had. Troy Aikman, actually, if you really want to make a comparison, Troy Aikman, well, Hurts has to win titles, but, I mean, think about it. They had a big-time wide receiver. They had a big-time O-line. They had a big-time running back, and the quarterback just won.
Look at Prince. Prince is cooking in the kitchen this week, dude. He's like Gordon Ramsay, chefing up filet meals right here. Xander, yes. The theory that a quarterback doesn't need a weapon and can make the wide receivers better is incorrect. Correct. This is the same situation in Buffalo, which is why they acquired Cooper.
Get this. What this guy is trying to tell you guys is that if Buffalo acquires a wide receiver, that's the same talent level in Philly of Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. In Kansas City and Buffalo, they acquired a dude, not the dude. You've got 2 the dudes. Nobody would ever put DeAndre Hopkins or would ever put Amari Cooper in the top 15 wide receivers in the league. You have 2 of them in the top 12. Give me a break, guy. They hired dudes. You have the dudes. Give me a break, guy. I mean, you make it sound like those quarterbacks need an A. They don't have A wide receivers in those buildings.
Sileo wants Jalen Hurts to march out there 1v11 and march down the field and score.
No, I want to see it in case there's a disaster in the war of attrition that a quarterback can put a team on his back and do it. He can't. He's proven that.
Let's keep going. Oh, God. Perez. What's up, Perez? Lane Johnson says him. Landon Dickerson. Mailata spoke to Sirianni at the bye. We did bring that up there, Perez.
There you go.
There you go. There it
Take
is.
the ball out of the quarterback's hand and put it into Barkley's hand. That's how we going to win. That's how that is.
This
Sorry,
guy is a
Johnny
sick
McMullen.
fuck, isn't he? Sileo is a sick motherfucker sometimes. Isn't he?
Sorry.
Whoa, we got a currency. I have no idea what that currency is next. Jarrell checks in. My main man, Jarrell.
Wait a minute. So Jarrell may be in Baghdad right now. If you don't know what that
No. That's the next guy, not Jarrell. Jarrell's, you can see the dollar sign there, Sills. That would be a USD.
Oh, okay.
And this guy, I don't know what that is. What is that? See it?
Is that a yen?
Is that? I don't know, man. You're talking to the wrong guy if you're looking for currency.
I think that's a yen.
Knowledge. Jarrell says, didn't someone say this week, matter of fact, on Sunday during the postgame show, me, that Lane said during the offseason they wanted to run the ball more? Jalen wants to win and do whatever it takes to.
Wow, he's just a warrior, Jarrell. I mean, this guy wants it just no matter what it is. He's like MacArthur. He's like Patton. He's like Schwarzkopf. He don't
Jarrell,
give a
what
shit.
A great
he just wants to win.
What a great super chat.
Hey, I believe that was a yen. If I know my monetary when I was my Wall Street days, that's a yen.
Jacob checks in. Elite Sills. Case closed, says 88. That would be playmaker. Michael Irvin. Miami Hurricane legend. Dallas Cowboy legend. Jalen Hurts is.
Was he on this week?
The wording was.
Hey, was he on this week?
The wording was from Michael Irvin. He is absolutely an elite player.
Hey, was he on this week? I don't remember that. I don't remember Irvin being on this week.
The people of Jacob are unbelievable. You guys are legends, man. Lawrence George checks in with 500. I guess that's yen. Is that what Yale would know?
Japanese.
Yale is our genius in the chat.
It's
Yale,
a Japanese yen.
That's a yen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't know. Do you think PHI are angling towards Calcaterra over Goddard, O-line, max protect versus Cincy? Open my eyes. Paying Goddard doesn't seem like it's logical. I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going that way because, look, Goddard does have a lot of skill, but Sills has been saying this about Goddard for years. The dude can't stay healthy.
Yeah. But I'd like to see some two tight end when he comes back.
He's good for 12 games a year. That's Dallas Goddard. That's his career. I mean, that's his career.
I think so.
Appreciate it, Lawrence. I don't know how much you sent. It's probably around $5.
$5.
500 yen is $5. Holy schmackerel. That's crazy.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it means a lot that he sent it. I'm just saying the conversion is funny.
Jesus criminy, a guy who deals money doesn't know what dollar things are around the.
I don't deal with
crying. I don't want you to get crying on me like you did with Kim. I don't need it.
Who is Kim? Always Sunny says, do you think they wanted to rush his development and it didn't work out the way they wanted?
Yes, the front office did. Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame Nick for that.
Yes, I do.
We got to that, right? We got to this one. Okay, Sills is Hurts a lost cause or what?
No, he's not a lost cause.
No, he's not at all. And did you read this one?
If I'm Nick, screw the organization. Yes.
Yeah, okay, we got him. All right.
Edgar,
by the way, big thanks to you, man. You gave us a big burger on post game too. Thank you, Edgar. Appreciate you, man. And I think we got a few more that came in now.
Don't go to Jarrell. Don't go to Jarrell.
I'm going to Jarrell. Sydney checks in. Xander, I want crimpets now. Dang. See, Saturday morning. He's already in Saturday. Sydney, we're Friday right now, man. It's Friday.
How about this, Sydney? Sydney's getting ready for like college football already, man. Holy God, this guy watches college football at night.
Saturday American time.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's watching college football at night. Look at Jarrell.
Jarrell's a legend. Elite Sills. Let me just read this one more time. Elite Sills. Case closed.
Look at Jarrell's one.
Daniel says, feel like I'm watching a Harris commercial. Oh my gosh. Who? Which one? Who's the propaganda artist? Sileo, I know.
Who's Harris?
Sean Mims says, Xander, if Hurts beats Allen in Super Bowl, Sills might quit. He might not show up. He won't show up for work. He won't show up.
Oh, my God. That would be the greatest Super Bowl on the planet.
No, he'll show up. You know why? Because he'll have about 42,000 people watching him.
Hey, Sean, always remember, Sills wins.
Jarrell says, playmaker said absolutely elite.
No, he didn't. I don't remember it that way.
Oh, I remember it. Wait a second. Oh, you want? Let me just pull it up. Actually, I mean, shoot, why not? Right?
No, I don't remember. I don't remember.
I'm just gonna. Might as well just take all the guessing out of this thing and pull it up. I mean, I think that makes the most sense here. So let's do that.
God Almighty, man!
All right, let me do that.
Of all people, hose jobs me here.
I just got it here.
You know what though? I just like the fact that Lane said, "Let's take the football out of that dude."
Oh, there he is. There's Playmaker. Let's play this real quick.
Based in Philly. What's your thoughts on Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback in the NFL? Do you think he's an elite player?
Oh, listen, I think he is absolutely an elite
player. An elite player.
Being more than an elite player, he's an elite leader.
Boom.
Yeah, but remember, then the captains of the team said we need to take the ball out of his hands because the guy can't win from the pocket. So we need to run the ball. How you doing?
Josh D checks in. My man Josh. What's up, Josh? He says, what would you say the top 3 organizations in the NFL? Chiefs, number 1, probably.
Green Bay.
Green Bay's a good man. Green Bay's unreal.
Yep. Baltimore.
You think?
Yeah.
Where do you rank New England?
Let's see. Let's give Jared Mayo a year. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Mayo guy, but I saw some dude tweeted like a little bit ago, and he's tweeting about the Patriots, and he's like organizational incompetence, and I'm like, okay, listen, wait. I get it. Okay, maybe they made a bad move with the quarterbacks, and they've struggled since Brady, but are you telling me that the guy that has 6 Super Bowl rings since 2000 is an organizational incompetent? I mean, come on. I
remember this too. 95 when he purchased the team, they went to a Super Bowl with Drew Bledsoe, and they won an AFC championship with Bill Parcells. So that guy has 11 AFC championship rings and 6 Super Bowls since he's owned a team when he bought it from Victor Kiam. Are you really trying to tell me you think New England is a bad franchise? Since 1995, how many Super Bowls have you been to? They've been to 11.
I can only dream of that. Oh, my God.
Okay, Pittsburgh's in there too. Yep.
Show the receipts. Jarrell, I played the receipts, baby. Elite, baby. Jarrell is just dropping burgers on you today, Sills. Wait, let me make sure I got all the super chats because everybody's been great.
Let me go because Jason Cole's coming up, man. I can't take this any longer with this elite. Hey, wait a minute. The players say take the ball out of his hands, and you guys are calling him elite. Come on, man. Take the ball away from the kid. Make him a runner.
That's not what they're saying at all.
That's exactly what they said. Let's be a running team.
So according to Sileo, there's only one way to succeed in the NFL.
Can you imagine going to Patrick Mahomes and the O-line going to Andy Reid going, hey, can we take the ball out of Mahomes' hands and can we give it to Ferdy Pacheco?
You bring one super chat about Kamala, and now everybody in the chat is crying. Nobody gives a shit about everybody's politics in the chat. All right.
Hey, by the way, I get in more arguments with my aunt over Trump and Harris. I can't wait for this thing to end next week.
Oh, Betty, Betty not like my take on that either.
She kills me over it too. But you're kidding. And I'm like,
maybe we should get back to a place in the country where we can.
I want to get back to normal talk here.
How about we just get back to a place in the country where you can have a disagreement with your common people and be able to talk like humans instead of thinking that somebody that doesn't think the exact way as you should be out to pasture. I love everybody. I don't give a if you're a good person and you got a good heart and you're good to me.
Yeah.
I like you. I don't give a shit who you vote for. I don't give a shit.
Stop it, Jarrell. Jarrell. Hey, by the way, do everybody a favor and show that Philly 500 shirt one more time.
Oh, yeah, dude. This thing is just fresh as it gets right here. Oh, look at that thing. Wait, with the cigar on the bottom, Big Sills? I mean, come on, man. Philly 500 is a GOAT. He is a legend, Philly 500.
Well, Xander, it was great to see you, man. I really love that, man. Yeah, that's okay. I get it. After today,
what is that, like 5 straight days of KOs for Big Sills?
Hey, whoa. So what, are we keeping score here now?
Wait, it might be 6 going back to the post-game show.
Well, I'm going to have to go check my balance later. Talk about KOs.
Yeah, you got me there.
By the way, hey, Crossing Broad, he's broke today. You know why? Big Sills is in the house.
Big Sills in the house, baby.
Great
Wait, read
stuff,
the super
Xander.
chat. Did I
Hey,
get
you
one?
doing something tomorrow, dude?
No, probably. I just have some. I got a big family event tomorrow. A bunch of cousins are coming into town and stuff. So my sister from Florida is coming into town. So I got a busy day with the family tomorrow.
We'll see you then on Sunday in the pre, and then also in the post, and then the post, and also at halftime. Tell McMullen this if you happen to run into him. Big Sills is coming for you.
Big Sills is coming. Put it on a t-shirt, Prince says, and then one more. Jalen will finish the season with 5 ints. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. All right,
15
everybody. Thank you, guys. It's been such a great week of content. Another great week on a Friday. Thank you all, man. You guys are the absolute best. It really means a lot to me, your support of the channel. Thank you all so much. Big Sills, catch you on Sunday, my man.
Got you, my friend. Thank you, Xander. Spectacular job as always. He has killed that segment since we have put him on. Absolutely sensational. Hit the like button. Jason Cole right around the corner. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills National Football Show. We appreciate it. By the way, Playmaker hosed me when he said Hurts was an elite quarterback this week. So, okay, you got me, and you got Michael Irvin here. Hopefully, we're going to be able to catch up with Jason Cole. I just saw his mug here a second ago. Hopefully, we're able to catch up with him here. And I'm going to go to Jason now here because there was a list of names, and the senior names for contributors and for coaches came out for the Hall of Fame. And real quick here, as I tell Jason this, Bill Arnsberger recruited me for LSU when he was the head football coach down there because he was the former head coach of the New York Giants. My uncle hired him to be the head coach when Andy Robustelli was the general manager. Bill was a name that was synonymous with the no-name defense. Don Shula hired him, and that no-name defense that won 3 straight AFC championships and 2 Super Bowls, Arnsberger was the architect of that defense. I mean, one of the truly greats. Tom Coughlin, Mike Holmgren, Chuck Knox, who doesn't get credit, I think took 3 different teams to playoffs, should be in the conversation for the Hall of Fame. Dan Reeves, I don't know how many Super he's been to, 9, 10. I mean, then you have George Seifert, who I think that's a difficult one because when he went to Carolina, he stunk out loud, but he was great in San Francisco. Mike Shanahan and Clark Shaughnessy and Marty Schottenheimer also, who has 206 victories. Of all these names here, which one are you more partial to here, Jace, that you hope gets a real good look from this Veterans Committee to potentially put? I think you get a contributor, and I think you get a coach. So you get 2 guys to go into the Hall of Fame here with this type of selection.
Well, you actually get they changed it a little bit this year. It's going to be 5 guys for 3 spots, and it's going to be 1 coach, 1 contributor, and 3 seniors.
Okay.
And they're going to compete against each other, which is tough on the contributor and the coach, but that's the way it goes. I'm not real partial to seniors anyways, so I'm probably more partial to the contributor or coach, depending on who they are. Last year, I was not into I think it was Buddy Parker. I was not interested in Buddy Parker. We talked about that. On this list, out of the 9, to me, Shanahan's pretty clearly number 1. Back-to-back titles. Coached Elway to the best years of his career. Turned Steve Young into a 2-time MVP and Super Bowl winner as well. So he's got another Super Bowl in San Francisco as an offensive coordinator. Terrell Davis, MVP. Elway was an MVP. Coached 3 different MVPs. There's only a handful of coaches who've ever done that. Very, very short list of guys. I just think, the style of offense they played, the tree that he developed, everything that comes off of Shanahan is just pretty superlative. Now, he wasn't very good in Washington, no question about that. And if you want to count that silly, whatever you want to call that time with the Raiders, that.
How about a learning experience? Because a lot of coaches sometimes go through that too, Jace. The first job's not the best job, you know what I mean? And then you learn at the next opportunity. Look at Belichick. I mean, that wasn't anything to write home about too in Cleveland, and he goes up to New England, right? So, I mean, you could make that comparison to him with that thing in Vegas. The same thing with Cleveland with Belichick.
Yeah, no, I look, Shanahan to me clearly there. Next on that list, and it's close, is Holmgren and Coughlin. And Coughlin. Look, there's really good cases for a lot of the guys on the list. Clark Shaughnessy is the guy who really took the T formation and modernized it and changed the way football looks as it looks today. All right, but he wasn't in the NFL for that long. He spent a lot of time in college. If you look at Arnsberger, I love Arnsberger, but he was an assistant coach, not a head coach, not a very successful head coach. If you talk about the 3-4 defense, Arnsberger's the one who took what Greasy Neal was doing with the 5-2 and turned it into what you would really call a 3-4, and then LeBeau took it from there and amped it up when he got to Pittsburgh. So Arnsberger's a key part of the development. Seifert, I think Seifert, did coattails on Bill Walsh and was handed a pretty great team. So I'm not partial to Seifert, but there are people who believe in Seifert, and, I'm willing to listen to the argument. Schottenheimer, not quite there. Reeves, not quite there. I can't remember the other guys on that list, but
Chuck Knox.
Chuck Knox. I'm a Rams fan growing up. I have to say no.
3 different teams to playoffs.
I understand. Yeah, he had like a terrific career. I'm not trying to say he didn't have a terrific career, but there is terrific career and there's Hall of Fame.
How about Marty?
it's not quite Hall of Fame. Marty is not a Hall of Famer.
Even with
Terrific
206.
career. Even with 206.
He's fifth
sorry.
all time.
He's not fifth all time. He's
I
not
think he's
that
fifth.
high. No. You're up there. Shula's number one. The Bears number two. Belichick's number three in terms of total victories.
Yeah.
Belichick's three. Reed is up there. Reeves has more than him. I think he might be in the top 10, but I don't think he's number 5. Because Reed is at 286 right now, or 285.
Yeah.
And there's some guys in between the 285.
Marty's 7th. Here's the list. Shula's 328. Hallis is 318. Belichick is 302. Reed is 265. Landry's 250. Lambeau's 226. And Schottenheimer is 7th with 200. He's got more wins than Reeves, Knoll, Knox.
He's got more wins than Reeves and Jeff Fisher?
Yeah, he's got 200 wins. Actually, if you want to look at his record, Marty Schottenheimer's 200 and 126 with a 613 win percentage, and he's got more wins than Parcells, Carroll, Coughlin, Shanahan, Paul Brown, Sean Payton, Bud Grant, Bill Cowher, Tony Dungy, Hank Strand.
It's not. I mean, look, again, it's nice, but it's not good enough.
Is it because of that postseason number?
Absolutely. And it's not just the postseason number, but it's the postseason meltdowns. Yeah, it's the postseason meltdown in Cleveland. Well, the one in Kansas City against Elway, where that's a bad one with Elvis Gerbeck. You run 2 or 3 plays in the last 2 minutes, and it's so bad. And then the fourth down. The going for it on fourth down against New England when you just have the better team. You're at home with a better team in both the Kansas City game and in the Chargers Patriots game.
Jesus, I forgot that thing.
Yeah,
they were the better roster too, man. They were the better roster in that game.
That roster that they should have walked to a Super Bowl.
They were Jackson and Gates and LaDainian and Rivers and that defense with Sale,
Merriman
and Rodney Harrison and all them guys, and they got beat in that game. And he was so conservative. With that game there. And
no. It was the opposite. He was the opposite of conservative. He took too many chances because he went for it on that 4th and 10 play from the 30. Instead of, hey, look, you just got a better team. You can punt it home, from that. Or you can go for the field goal if you want to. I understand. I think Kading was a kicker and he wasn't very good, but I get it. But don't go for a play. I mean, they played right into the Patriots' hands and made the Patriots, a winner that day. And like Marty just, for everything that he did in the regular season, those postseason meltdowns are just crushing. They're crushing.
I think he was 4 and 14 or some shit like that too. It was really, to me, it will always go back to those Cleveland meltdowns. He had that Denver game won, and it was Elway in the drive and all that. Then the following year, even, they had that with the Ernest Biner fumble. I mean, all of that. They had that thing just wrapped up there. Last night, do you think the Jets saved their season last night with Aaron Rodgers?
For a week or two. They kept it on life support. But they've already screwed up the season. They've already screwed up the season. 2-6 to open the season when you're that good. Now, they've got a really good football team. They ranked number 12 in my rankings
really?
Of yards per play differential. They're a positive, they're a good solid positive number in outgaining their opponents on the average play, right? They're good, but they're not good in terms of executing games and doing the little things that it takes to actually win the game. Like Rodgers having the 3 interceptions in the London game, the missed kick against Denver, the meltdown against Pittsburgh. They've just had too many things, go absurdly wrong that are games you just can't afford to lose, because there are going to be times that you just get beat over the course of the season. And that's just going to happen to them. They've got to go to Buffalo still. Like, that's going to get ugly for them in Buffalo.
Let me ask you a tough question. You guys, and I'm not saying any names, or I'm not even saying you, Jace, but there were a lot of people that had animosity towards Terrell Owens with his attitude and the way that he looked, and the comments that people made about him being a shitty teammate, which in my estimation are true. And I think some people held that against him on the first ballot thing. And he is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but again, he's not a first ballot teammate. And I think that a lot had to do with some of the people that may have not looked at him and went, look, he's a Hall of Famer, but he's just not a first ballot teammate. Do you think that'll be held like that against Aaron Rodgers a little bit? Because I'll say this to you. Aaron Rodgers is a first talent and a first ballot Hall of Fame player, but he is so not a first ballot teammate. If I had to think of a teammate for me that I would want to quarterback my team, I'd only pick Rodgers because of his sensational talent. It wouldn't be because of his leadership qualities. Do you think that will play a factor? And some of the political shit like you see with like Kurt,
the political
Kurt
that stuff's irrelevant.
Okay, but do you think some people will hold the attitude and all of that against him when the 50 guys are in that room?
Look, I wouldn't hold it against him because I think he's one of the greatest throwers of the football of all time, and so absurdly gifted. Like he's more gifted at his position than T.O. was at his.
Clearly.
Yeah, and T.O. had, trust me, T.O. had detractors, not just about his teammate style, but people were like, okay, he was a great compiler of numbers. I don't know that he was that overwhelming as a wide receiver, but he did put up numbers. And I'm saying that people said that. I still think clearly he was a Hall of Fame player. It just took a couple of years because he wasn't necessarily better, hands down better than everybody else. But when you look at Aaron Rodgers, he's hands down one of the 3 or 4 greatest throwers of the football.
Absolutely.
He's up there with Marino. I mean, he just did some amazing things on a football field. And, some guys don't like him, and he did undermine McCarthy, and he is kind of this snively kind of guy that rubs people the wrong way. I just don't know if I don't know if it's enough for people to hold it against him the way that T.O. actively undermined his teammates. He actively undermined Romo. He actively undermined Jeff Garcia. He actively undermined, guys that he played with along the way. He actively was incredibly jealous. I mean, his gambling in the locker room, and when you hear stories about some of the ways that he just kind of tortured his teammates, with card games and things like that, it's really kind of really disgusting kind of stuff. That people did say enough is enough, but they weren't going to keep him out of the Hall of Fame. But I'll say this. I said this last week when we talked. If you had only Hall of Famers voting for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I hear that from fans, Hall of Famers should vote. Well, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah,
because
Owens
if Hall
might
of
not get
Famers
in.
voted,
yeah,
Owens wouldn't. There's no way he would get in. Guys who are in the Hall of Fame hate him. They despise him. They can't stand the things he did, and the way he handled himself at Hall of Fame events before he went in, like when other Hall of Famers got up to talk and share their experiences and talk about what the honor was like, and he's on the phone and just gabbing and ignoring everything. Like, they just can't stand him. He again, T.O. would never have made it if it was up to Hall of Famers.
How about this one here? Say the deal gets closed this year with the Chiefs. Do you think that Super Bowl, what would it mean more to? If Mahomes wins, he joins Brady and Bradshaw as the only 4-time plus winners in Super Bowl history. And if Reed wins, he'll only join Noel and Belichick with coaches that have won 4 or more Super Bowls in the Super Bowl era. That would be Andy Reid. He would be only the third man with 4 or more Super Bowl titles as a head football coach, along with Noel and Belichick. And again, that's quite a group there for Mahomes. He'd be in the room with Bradshaw, Brady, and himself as the only winners of 4 Super Bowls or more. Who would it mean more to?
Well, you forgot Montana. Montana's in there.
Yeah, Montana, Brady, and Bradshaw, and then Mahomes would be in there as well.
Yeah. I don't know that it means anything. I think the bigger accomplishment is winning 3 straight. That's where 3 straight is,
dude, incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Packers did. The Packers did it when it was a 12-team league.
Yeah,
it just doesn't happen. Just going to 3 straight is like what Buffalo going to 4 straight was a monumental thing.
Miami,
the Dolphins, Dolphins going to 3 straight, winning 2 of them. I mean, those are amazing things. I mean, this might be the single greatest accomplishment in team sports history. Yep. If they win 3 straight, and they get all the accolades that go with that. It puts Mahomes in a discussion as greatest of all time. I don't think most people would put him ahead of Brady yet, but that's a pretty big notch in your belt when you got 3 straight. I mean, Brady winning 3 in 4 years was an amazing enough thing to open his career. Winning 3 straight, I mean, my God, him and Reed, they'll be etched. They'll be etched forever in history. It'll just be a stunning thing.
Like you said, they named the trophy after Lombardi because he won 65, 66, and 67. And like you said, the 65 title was not a Super Bowl title. It was 3 straight NFL championships, and the AFL was around, and they had not merged yet. But, I mean, you win 3 titles in a row. It hasn't happened since the late 60s here. Real quick here, one last one here for you. Are you right now, November 1, do you start to get an idea on who the contenders are? Because I tell people this, the war of attrition is starting to take effect now on some of these teams, and you really don't know what teams are real super. When do you start to formulate that when you start looking at football teams and say, because there's so much parity in the game, some would say mediocre football too. I think that's always code when you say parity in the league. That's code for mediocre football because there's no dominant team right now, but they're the Chiefs sitting at 7-0. Can you name 3 teams right now that you're swaying towards that you think are the Super Bowl contending teams?
Oh, I can name 6 or 7. I think.
Really?
I think that, they're serious contenders. That doesn't mean I think they're great teams, but there are 6 or 7 contenders. So if you go on the AFC side, you got Kansas City. Baltimore is a great football team when they just. Yeah, their 3 losses are by a combined 15 points. Like they're 4 plays out of every team in the league has basically run 1,000 plays so far this year. So they've won. They're 4 plays away from being undefeated. Now it's still 4 plays away from being undefeated. Don't get me wrong, but like they've dominated in games when you do some deeper statistical analysis. So they're terrific. I think Buffalo is a contender on that side, and Houston, despite being so bad yesterday, I think if they can fix the interior.
That was the personnel issues too. Both wideouts gone, injuries too, like you said.
Right,
I mean,
right. There are just some things that are going on, and I just say if they can fix the interior offensive line, get their wide receivers healthy, they'll be fine. But the top 3 clearly, and if you go on the NFC side, San Francisco is still there, playing really well. And they're going to get Greenlaw back, assuming they get McCaffrey back. They're going to get Juwan Jennings. And I'll say, people, if you watch Pearsall last week, Pearsall was really good. He was really, really good player last week. So they've got some things to do to make themselves serious contenders. And obviously, Detroit, Green Bay, and I'll say Minnesota. Minnesota's defense worries me a little bit. They got to get off the field a little bit better. They've had I think 68 more plays run against them by opposing teams than they've run. So that's a time of possession issue, and that's a getting off the field issue. They got to do better with that. But I think those three teams in the North, and I want to say, like, Philly is starting to get some swag back. Philly's starting to, and Washington is starting to believe that maybe this is real. I don't think Washington.
They're going for their 7th straight this weekend. Jason.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
they're doing some interesting things. So, like, those teams, and I know I'm stretching it a little bit to call Washington a serious contender just yet. I'm probably stretching it a little bit with Minnesota, given what I think of their defense. But that still leaves three or four really solid teams. And Philly, like, I don't know, ever since Sirianni got back to being a jerk, and stop being afraid of it. Like, don't be afraid to be a jerk. Like, be yourself. And so he's gotten back to that. It's working for him. Like,
I'm actually going to take that kind of philosophy from Jason Cole. The more I'm an asshole, the more, okay, yeah, maybe just be more myself. Okay, Jason.
Well, we have a long history.
Does that work for me?
No, no.
I've actually been good the last 4 years. Believe it or not, I've actually been behaved myself.
Yeah,
you don't know.
Let
me tell you this. You know how many text messages I've gotten from Jason Cole over the last 25 years when it comes to me? He goes, did it again, huh? He goes, did it again, huh? My phone's blowing up right now,
Yeah, you really had to do that. You really had to do that, huh? Like, people like blame me for when you screw up. Like, that's your friend and he's doing that.
Hey,
I'm not responsible.
Hey, wait a minute. Chuck Todd texts me and goes, do you know how much shit I take for you? And I'm sitting in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Because we're friends. He goes, do you know the shit I take for you? And I go, like this. I go, no. He goes, man, I got more text messages about you than I do about Biden when it comes to something that you say in a moment. They'll flood how can you support? And I'm like, and Jason said the same thing. He goes, do you know how much shit I get for you?
It's true. It's true. I'm supposed to be your moral compass. Like, yeah.
That's what Michael Irvin said it to me too. He was on yesterday or the day before he was on. And he goes, man, you know how much shit I take for you? I go, hey, Mike, hang on. Do you know how much shit I take for you? Mike had no room to talk. Hey, Jace, I said that. I go, hey, you know how much shit I take for you? You'd be surprised the shit that I got to take. And I hear it from my kid. You support that, Dad? Yeah.
Hey, like, yeah, you're like, when she wants to talk. Yeah, how are things at the University of Miami, honey? Let's talk about something else.
No. Jace, here's the better one. So I'll be ripping into somebody. That guy's character, he's horrible. Look at what they're doing. Tyreek Hill. Also, my daughter will remind me. She goes, "Hey, didn't your boy get in trouble a couple times with like hotels?" and I go like this. Hey, and I go like this. She goes, "Wasn't he involved in like cocaine? What do they call it? The White House?" And I go, "I have no idea what you're talking about." Yeah, I hate receipts. I hate receipts. Jace, I love you, man. Thank you so much, brother. I'll catch up with you.
All right, dude. Be good.
You got it. Jason Cole, our Pro Football Hall of Fame voter. Oh, my God. Xander, too. Xander's emails in his email box is filled. So, yeah, no. Hey, so my daughter does that shit. She'll do this. She'll go, hey, man. So who are you ripping now? Oh, yeah, it's Tyreek Hill, man. He beat his kid. Oh. Wasn't Michael Irvin accused of something? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. She goes, yes, you do. Because I heard you defending him. I was watching the show, and I go like this. Why, because he's your friend? All of a sudden, I start speaking like Reggie White in the tongues. What? Dad, isn't that your boy? Like the guy, like the teacher on Charlie Brown. What's that buena? She's like, Dad, that's your boy, right? Who, Mike? No. Michael Caine, Michael Irvin. Yeah. And I go, yes, he's my friend. How long you know him? I go, 40 years. You know that guy 40 years? Yeah, I know him 40 years. How much shit has he been through in 40 years? Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Here you go, Dylan. Dylan, that's gonna be my new one. Allegedly. Allegedly. Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. One super? Okay, good. Hit it up, Xander. Let's get the super here. Got to give it to 88. He could hate us, bud. Mutual respect. Big fish, little boat. Dun, 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 dun. Come to my town. Hello. When you come to my town, is that what we're doing here? Big fish, little boat? Is that what we're doing? Little West Side Connection? Dun, dun. Bow down. Dun, dun, dun. Bow down. Yeah. Oh, man. Is that what we're doing, Big Fish, Little Boat? Sounds like an Ice Cube tune. Bow down. Hey, 88 used to kill the Eagles too, man. Keith Jackson was awesome. Oh, I love Keith Jackson, man. He was fantastic. Hey, Cali weather getting us ill. The whole thing's getting to me. All right. We now have coming up in this hour, the legend, Philly Godfather will be joining us. Absolutely. Yale says playmaker killed the Eagles. No, he did have Aikman and Emmett. He did have Aikman and Emmett, right? When you come to my, hey, by the way, Ryan, that's one of my favorite tunes of all time. And one of my favorite albums of all time, West Side Connection. I love that. I told Q that numerous times. Stills butchered that song. Excuse me. Really? Wow, Coach. Thanks for your critique. Oh, man. Ryan appears from the woodworks. His first ever positive. Let's go, Ryan. Hey, Ryan. Right. Ryan, are you going to try to tell me that album, West Side Connection, is not one of the best albums ever in rap history? I love that album. Okay, the gangster, the killer, and the dope dealer. Ryan? Before I go to timeout, Ryan, the gangster, the killer, and the dope dealer. Is that on that album too? Right? I didn't know, Xander. Wait a minute here, Ryan. Hold on. We keep an eyeball on everyone. You may not think we're watching, but we're watching. We're watching. Great. Hey, Ryan, right? Gangster, the killer, and the dope dealer. That's right. Seals knows Ice Cube personally. He could butcher whatever he wants. Ice Cube's been on this program 5 or 6 times now, man. We love Ice Cube. I was texting him the other day, man. He killed it with the Dodgers in Game 2 when he came out. I thought he killed it. I told him, man, he was sensational. Hit that like button. Wait a minute. Have I possibly, Xander, won over Ryan? Could it be? Get this. This got to be a white guy. What the F is Sills talking about? Dude, this guy must be a country music guy. Hey, that guy must be a country music dude. Oh, man. Dun it. Only way we could take that, man. Hit that like button. Thank you guys very much. the legendary Philly Godfather. You want to make some money? One of my favorite segments. Still hate yourselves. Hey, Ryan, it's the only way we would want it, baby. It's the only way we would want it. Still hate your ass. But I'm here. How you doing? Hit the like button. Keep it International Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Slay not active. What debate? There was a debate yesterday? What did Big Sills tell you? Oh, ye of little faith. Oh, ye who don't listen to the ones that are wiser and been doing it longer. Oh, ye of youngster Xander. Can't just trade the guy away. Can't do it. He's not going to be here. Well, I'm not doing it. Oh, he's not active. What? It was almost like it was an epiphany. And someone told me, Sills, Slay's not going to make the year. He's not. And now he's not active. Damn! Senior coach, no one's trading for an injured Slay. Well, Xander says he's the best corner in the game. How could you not trade for the best corner in the game? Wait, was that John or I don't know. Oh, hold on here. Look at it. Sills wants the Eagles to wave the white flag and don't fall for it. What do you mean wave the white? No. I want people who are going to play every week for me. Yeah. Okay. I just got a text message on a guy who could potentially be traded to the Eagles. This is insane. I got a text from him because I know him. Would you guys be open for another tight end? Is it a good one? Is it good or bad? Would you be open for another tight end? Like David Njoku from Cleveland. Would you be open to him? Browns are shopping him. He's affordable. And you move off of Goddard. Calcaterra and him would be your new tight ends. Off season, you move off of Goddard. You move him. He's the guy that you move off of Goddard with. You have David Njoku and Grant Calcaterra as your future tight ends. Look at Anthony. No, I'll keep the broken down Goddard. Yeah, I'll keep the broken down Goddard, who's hurt every year the last 5 years. Yeah, I just got this. Yeah, I think he is too. I think he's a really good ball player. Hit the like button, guys. Love to see if we can get to 300 likes by the end of the program here. Wait till the draft? Why? Who says Howie's good drafting? He's not younger. He's available. Okay? Joseph Njoku goes to the Chiefs, so help me. Can you imagine if they got him and put him on the other side of Kelsey? Oof. Yeah, he's a Hurricane, too. Big fan of his. Yeah, he played at the University of Miami. He drafted Goddard. Well, let's take a look at something here with Dallas Goddard to go along with Anthony here. Dallas Goddard. Let's take a look at this. So Dallas Goddard has missed, let's see here. He's missed 3 games so far this year. Last year, he missed 3. Year before that, he missed 4. Year before that, he missed 3. Year before that, he missed 7. So in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, he's missed 20 football games. And Anthony wants to keep him. He's missed 20 games. It's time. Lane Johnson admitted players went to the coach to change the offense. And Johnny Mac swears nothing has changed since the bye week. Can you call him out for this, please? You want me to call Johnny Mac out for this? Because it validated Xander's take? Yeah. Shit, I've been telling you this for a bit. APB out on the 7-foot, 280-pound invisible man. Last season, Shirley Temple in hand while sticking out sticks. Anyone have info, please? Notify 911. There's an APB out for some 7-foot guy that supposedly wears a Sixer jersey. He's 280 pounds. I think he went to Kansas, if I'm not mistaken. Could that possibly be the guy? Can he block? Yeah. If we get Njoku for 2 tight end set, then we have 2 position tight ends. He's great in the red zone too. He is great in the red zone. Can he block? Yeah, he's good. And he's a really good all-around player. Cal can get shit done. It's just his health. I worry about concussions. That's another great take, Jack. You know, you worry. I mean, Jalen even said it the other day. They worry about his health. I think Goddard is out long-term due to his chasing another tight end. Why not? I want to see AJ play a little like Debo style. No, there's no reason for it. I'm not going to put him in that harm's way. Now, Big C's right. Njoku does get hurt too. He does get hurt. He does. A little bit before we get Philly Godfather on here, Nick had a chance to talk to the media today. And by the way, there's no question about it. Some of the things that have come out now, and I think one of the most important things, hey, Xander, can you do me a favor? Can you post that Jeff McClain email one more or tweet one more time, please? Hit the like button, guys. Then we're going to talk a little bit about what Nick said. And I think that what this and how this was phrased today, I think it kind of accentuates what Jeff McClain tweeted out today on what the players said and what the players wanted heading into the bye. They didn't say I wanted to keep him. I wanted to get a younger. Okay. He does also get hurt too, Anthony. Let's bring this up, Xander. And do me a favor, Xander, leave it there while I talk a little bit on what Nick said and address people today. Jeff McClain tweeted this out earlier. And again, Xander's been talking about this, but remember what I've been telling you since the bye week. There's no doubt that Saquon Barkley has forced the hand of the Eagles to go down this lane. And Lane Johnson and the offensive captains, Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson, went to the head coach and said, if we're going to win a Super Bowl, we're going to win games with that style of play, but it's going to be too up and down and it's too spotty. Let's run the ball. Let's inflict our will. And this is kind of what Jalen Hurts has been saying too. Thanks, Anthony, for the super chat. Xander, leave that there for a second. He was asked the question, changed the last 3 weeks. How much player involvement goes into the changes? And I have to think Jeff McClain asked that question today because it accentuates this tweet. Nick said this. They have input. Okay? Then what we do is we talk as a staff, and then we go back to them and we go, how do you feel about this? What I don't think Nick wanted to was divulge how that process works. I think if a football team came to a coach and said, we're not happy with what happened last year. Hey, how many people believe that last year's mistake Hey, Xander, I didn't think about this while we were talking. Yale, think about this. Do you think the reason that Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, and Landon Dickerson are going to these guys this early, I love that, Xander, are going to this early is because what they don't want to have happen, the situation get to be where it was too late last year to make any significant difference. And instead of the coaches making the decisions on what they were going to do, the players took ownership of this. Right? Did they learn from 23's mistakes? I think that tweet right there, is an indicator of those guys learning from last year's meltdown. And you see this tweet right here? This is the greatest tweet that potentially could save Nick Sirianni's ass in Philly. Why? He listened. That's how you not lose your locker room. Right there. Players came to him, he listened, and he applied it with his coaching staff. If this is what they want, this is what we're going to do. And to Xander's point, Xander said, do you think they bucked the trends of the front office? I think Nick is so good, like John McMullen says, of navigating through it and being a politician, that he probably navigated around and had, hey, do you, and again, I'm spitballing here. So when the players go to him, Nick goes to the coaching staff. Does Nick have to go up and sell it to Howie and the owner? Does he have to go up and sell it? Probably. One thing Doug didn't do, he didn't want to sell it. It was his way or the highway. This is the politics that John writes about with Nick. Probably had to go upstairs and sell this. Hey, the players want to run the ball. We're running the ball great right now. Why not? See where it takes us. They're second in the league, almost 170 yards a game. Why not? It's working. Quarterbacks, and by the way, the quarterback's bought in. Nobody's bitching, right? I'm gonna show Xander, make it big so Philly Godfather can see this, and then I'll bring him up. And I want Philly Godfather to see this. So this was today here. Lane Johnson said that offensive leaders, Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson, went to the coaching staff and went to Nick Sirianni about modifying the offense so it would be more run-based. You could take it down now, Xander. And they changed the entire philosophy. I'm not saying they changed the entire offense, but they changed their philosophy from the bye. And the numbers dictate it. We saw they're averaging 40 carries a game now since the bye. And they're averaging probably around 22 passes a game since the bye. They want to be more of a run-centric team. Hurts is running the ball more. He wants to be more involved in the offense. I think it's got a lot to do with that here. I'm going to get to all the super chats, I promise, at the end of the segment here. So let's bring in the Philly Godfather. You want to make some money? Here's your boy here. How you doing?
Good, man. Another good week. Election coming up. Time to have some fun, Dan.
No doubt about it, man. We had a massive week here. What'd you make of that, what I just showed you here, that the leadership of the offense especially went to the head coach and went to management, I would think, and said, hey, listen, we want to be more of a run-centric team. We think we can dominate here. And that's basically what's happened. They've kind of changed the face of what their approach is, and it's gone now more. And look at the passing. Last week was 20 attempts. Week before was 14 attempts. And the week before that was 15 attempts. And they're averaging over 40 carries a game. So obviously something has changed in that dynamic. What do you take of that? Do you think they learned from last year's mistakes in that meltdown, that they wanted to get this out of the way sooner than waiting for this thing to melt down?
It makes a lot of sense. You're taking the ball out of Hurts' hands, less turnovers, less interceptions. better shot at winning games. They've looked a lot better, but again, who have they beaten? They've beaten the Giants, the Browns, and a really banged up Bengals team that has no defense. So we'll see how it works out when they step up against some of the better teams in the NFC in the playoffs. But I think it was a genius move. I mean, the way Jalen Hurts, he became a turnover machine. And I'd rather have Saquon Barkley running the ball, short passes, more conservative offense, less shots down the field, low percentage passes that, so, yeah, I think it was smart. I think it was a good move.
How about this? They've only beaten one team with a winning record, and that's Green Bay. What do you make? What do you take out of that? And how do you temper that when a 5-2 team has only beaten a team with a winning record? And it was the first game of the year, and it was Green Bay, who's playing really good football right now. But how do you dissect a team like that when, especially, I'll get your take here on the Jags game coming up, but I mean, they're banged up. They've got a coach on the firing seat right now. I mean, the whole thing, they're trading players away. Are they a real 5-2 contender?
I'll tell you this much. Last year, they were beating teams they shouldn't be, and they were 10-1. And I actually feel more comfortable with the team this year than I did with the team last season. I think they're headed in the right direction. I think Saquon Barkley was a big addition. I think the offensive line's starting to get together, and they're playing smart football now. And as long as you play smart football and you don't turn the ball over, you can beat anybody. And they got the horses. They got the talent on the field offensively where they can become really dangerous. I don't think they're as good as the Detroit Lions. To be honest, I think they were lucky against the Packers. Atlanta beat them. San Fran, when healthy, they're dangerous. But they're going to be right there. They're going to be right there.
Absolutely. There. Somebody in the chat says they beat the Falcons and Bucks. No, the Falcons and Bucks beat them. So what do you see this weekend? Dougie coming home, got the statue out front. Everybody, loves some Doug Peterson. You tell me, how do you see this game on Sunday? By the way, I believe it's 7.5, and I think the number's 45.5 heading into this football game. How do you see it?
Yeah, 45.5, 46 on the total. The line's 7.5. But as we witness all season, NFL teams laying 7.5 haven't performed well. They've only covered the spread about 30% of the time. Eagles are coming off an impressive win against the Bengals at 2.5-point dogs. Jags are a mess. They're offensively, they're banged up. But they gave Green Bay a run for the money last week. And if you look at, their 6 losses, and 4 of those 6 losses, they've lost by 5 points or less. So they've been able to hang around. This one's tough. If anything, if you're looking to bet the Eagles, I think you put them in a teaser, a 7-point teaser, drop that line down to a 0.5 point. You can tie them in with Seattle plus 8.5, or maybe the Packers plus 9.5 or 10. With the Jags offense being banged up, with the Eagles defense getting together, Jags defense has gotten healthier. I also like the under 46. So Eagles in the teaser, and under 46 is probably the right way to play it.
Last night, Jets saved their season?
Yeah, they looked better. They looked a lot better. But, I mean, it was such a trap game. You had a 2-6 team favored by 2 points against a 6-2 team. I mean, the public was all over the Texans, and they caught it. You got to really pay attention to the line, to what the bookmakers are telling you, and don't get caught in those traps.
Speaking of one of your favorite trap teams, the Cowboys, on Sunday, will be playing the Atlanta Falcons, who, whatever you want to say about Kirk Cousins has been an absolute great addition. A lot better than Desmond Ridder, I can tell you that from a year ago here. You're seeing guys that I hadn't seen in 2 years, like Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson, and those guys starting to make some plays here. And you got Dallas limping into this football game. Boy, a lot of noise around them. Dexter Lawrence is not there. Micah Parsons not there too. Really not a great running game. They're averaging around 70-some-odd yards a game rushing. How do you see this game in Atlanta?
Yeah, we talked about the Cowboys before the season started. I told you they weren't going to be as good as last year to go under 10.5 wins. They've got some major issues. I didn't bet the game yet, but I don't think Micah Parsons is playing. Daron Bland ain't playing. So you got to lean the Falcons here. I mean, the Falcons got the better defense. They're ranked 15 spots higher in the turnover differential metric. Offensively, Atlanta's ranked 7th in yards per play. The Cowboys come in like 21st. So the Cowboys got problems on offense and defense. I think the line's right on, but I lean Atlanta. I think the Falcons win the game.
Now, this will be an interesting one here. And by the way, if you're Miami, you're so thankful it's November 1 instead of December 1 because you're now going up to Buffalo and you're going up there to play now. And that means, you're going to end up having to get the Buffalo Bills later. So, in your opinion here, Miami Buffalo 2 is back week 2 for him. Josh Allen's playing MVP football. How do you see this thing?
Yeah, he's actually the odds-on favorite to win the MVP at 3-1 right now. Josh Allen.
Wait a minute. Say that again.
He's the odds-on favorite to win the MVP.
Josh Allen, MVP, baby. Sorry, Godfather. I tell people this guy, he's without a doubt the second best quarterback in the game to Mahomes.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I think you're right. Buffalo's definitely the public side here. The whole world's going to be betting Buffalo, but they were the public side last week in Seattle, and they rolled on the Seahawks. If the Bills can keep up that bully mentality and continue to run the ball like they have, they could end up in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's how good this Bills Mafia team is this season. The Bills are the healthier team here. The Dolphins' pass defense is really banged up. I think Josh Allen's going to have another monster game. I mean, keep your eye out on the weather, but I like the Bills -6. I like the over too. I think they're going to be able to put up some points.
You bet. I think they're going to blow their doors off up there.
Yeah.
Raiders and Bengals, man. Hey, the Bengals, man, they just got throttled last week, and now you got to start thinking here. Isn't this like the trade game? And what I mean by that is next week is the trade deadline, November 5th. I mean, both these teams still could be sellers, but whoever loses this ball game, it's 2025 now, isn't it? You're starting to think – you might be even thinking that right now, but at least if you win, you're kind of hanging in there still.
Yeah, I haven't bet the game yet. I mean, Joe Burrow's having an MVP type of season, but this Bengals team has burned me all year. I'm not rushing to take the Raiders +7 either. I mean, the Raiders stink. Their defense is mediocre at best. Their offense stinks. I think they're ranked like 28th or 29th in the yards per play metric. The Raiders also love turning the ball over. They're ranked dead last with the Titans when it comes to the turnover metric. It's hard betting the Raiders, and after that ass kicking the Eagles gave the Bengals last week, it's a tough game to bet on. I think Cincinnati comes out a little fast though this week. I like the over 22.5 in the first half on the total. I think with the Raiders defense being what it is and with the Bengals offense and Joe Burrow, I think they can put up some points in the first half. And gun to my head, I guess I got to lean Bengals here. I got a feeling like Burrow's going to go off. If you want to bet all his over prop bets, I think he's going to have a big game here against a really bad Raiders defense. Over in the first half, and if I had to bet it, even though I haven't bet it yet, I guess I would lean Bengals -7.
Boy, I don't know, man. The greatness of Jameis Winston made that team look absolutely insane last week here. And you got the Chargers. I mean, Justin Herbert's having a quiet season, but they're a playoff contender team now. Jim Harbaugh's kind of changing the perimeter here a little bit. And I say perimeter for a reason. I don't know if they have enough talent on the perimeter. Usually that's where you see a lot of talent with the Chargers, but I don't see it out there right now. And here you got this Cleveland team. Here's another football team that's going to be talking trading. They're already trading the tight end. They're talking to trading some of their defensive pieces too to potentially try to get out from that Watson deal next year to get a quarterback. How do you see this Charger game? You like the Chargers versus the Cleveland Browns in this one?
I mean, they're laying 1.5 and 42 on the road. The total's 42 on the road. I think the total's a little light here. I know both squads have pretty good defenses, but over the last 2 games, if you look at Justin Herbert's numbers, he's starting to light it up when it comes to passing yards. And when it comes to the Browns, I mean, Jameis Winston, he's a gunslinger. He's been a huge upgrade to their offense. Chubb's back too. I like the over 42 in this matchup. I think it flies over that total. When it comes to this side, I'm really not sure how good the Chargers are yet. Who they beat? They beat the Raiders. They beat the Broncos, the Panthers, and they beat who else they beat? I think they beat the Saints.
Yeah.
So I don't know how good this Chargers team is to be laying 1.5 on the road. I like the over. I kind of lean Browns. I wish the line got to 3, and then I'd be all over, Cleveland here. But as of right now, I just like the over in the game.
I am going to spare you the New England, Tennessee one. I just, I'm sorry. I'm going to spare. No, but do you see any value in those kind of games? Are they side bets for you when you look at something like that? Because I don't know how you get an assessment of what these two teams are going to do in a game now when both these teams theoretically are looking at 25 in the draft right now, and really they're evaluating their rosters. I don't know if they're even thinking about winning these ball games. Maybe New England is. Tennessee's got some good players, but the quarterback's terrible. How do you look at a game like that?
Well, the first thing you do is look at the health score, see which team's healthier, see if there's any kind of edge at certain positions. But before the season started, I bet the Titans have the worst record in the NFL at 11-1. So I'm hoping they lose here. To be honest, Dan, I don't know who stinks more. You got a 2-6 Patriots team that has a negative 73 point differential in the season. You got a 1-6 Tennessee team that has a negative 76 point differential. This game should be sponsored by Tidy Bowl. I mean, that's how bad. It's just bad. I guess if I would have to bet it, maybe Titans here on the money line or lay the 3 points. Tennessee's much healthier going into Sunday on both sides of the football. When both teams are at full strength, the Titans were supposed to be a 2-win team, better than the Patriots if you look at their Vegas projected season win totals before the season started. The scary part about betting on Tennessee is they're ranked dead last with the Raiders in the turnover differential. You know how big turnovers are. Both offenses blow. The Titans have a better defense. It's maybe Titans at anything under a field goal here, man. I don't know. It's a tough game.
How about this thing here? Washington, New York Giants. This will be the 7th win in a row if Washington gets it done, and now it's also a division game.
Yeah.
Do they cover in this game? Do they take care of business and cover in this bad puppy here? I just want them to put the Giants to sleep. I mean, because just the whole the general manager's awful, and I'm starting to buy into Washington. How do you see this game here?
Well, you liked them before the season started, and we said
I picked them to win the East.
Yeah, we said if you want to take a flyer, take them to win the NFC East. The Commanders, our exact words were, if Jaden Daniels is as advertised, they're going to be a dangerous team, and they've been dangerous to start the season. Commanders are laying 4-44 in this matchup against the Giants. They're coming off a huge emotional win. I mean, man, what a win that was. It's a division game here, road game. 85% of the action's on Washington, so that's never a good thing if you're looking to bet on a team. Whenever the public's that heavily tilted on a side, man, you got to be careful. You got to pump your brakes a little bit. Giants are coming off a loss Monday night to the Steelers, but if you watch the game, New York kind of gave the game away with 2 turnovers. I think they only had 30 less total yards in the game, and they actually won the time possession battle against the Steelers, and that's not easy to do. I kind of like the way the Giants moved the ball against Pittsburgh. The Steelers got a top 10 defense, while the Commanders, one of the worst defenses in the league. I think they're ranked like 23rd overall defensive ranking. Giants' defensive line is one of the best in the NFL. Last time they played in week 2, I mean, it was a close game. Commanders only won by a field goal, and now the Giants are at home. I think it's a letdown spot for Washington here. I'm kind of like the Giants +4. I just hate betting on the Giants. I hate betting on the Jets. I hate betting on the Mets. The Giants are so bad, but they look good at times. But 4 is a big number, man. A division game. I kind of like the Giants +4.
Yeah, you left one out. The Nets too. You don't bet on them either. Okay, it's Nets, Jets. Okay, Mets, Jets, Nets. Never bet on them because they'll constantly always break your heart with that. There, absolutely. How about this one here? Oh, by the way, real quick. So, like, when somebody showed me the Hail Mary, I'm like, don't show me Hail Marys. The guy goes, why? I go, my organization or my college football team, we were involved in the Flutie Hail Mary.
Oh, my God. Remember that?
And let me tell you this, man. When those things happen to your football team, holy cow. It's like your heart getting yanked out of you, man. I mean, you see something like that, you're like, no way. And then it sets in, and then you're pissed off for about 20 years. He won the Heisman on that play. If Bernie had won that game, Kozar, he'd have won the Heisman. But Flutie won that game on that play, and that's what won him the Heisman.
Yeah, Flutie was only 5'9", but in college he was a giant, man.
Dude, he was great. I think that's the last time BC beat us was when Flutie threw that pass against us.
Yeah,
They really do. I think it's the last time they beat us here. All right. I'm going to spare you this shitball game, too. New Orleans and Carolina. Boy, I can't give you that one there. But this one's interesting. Denver at Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore dropped one last week. to Cleveland. That was kind of a shocker, but Winston went off with 337. Denver's playing some pretty good football right now with Bo Nix. Who do you like in this football game?
Ravens are 9.5 and 46.5. It's kind of a high number, but I think the Ravens are going to be pissed off after last week's division loss to the Browns. I think they come out fast at home versus the Broncos here. I don't think they take their foot off the pedal. I do like how the Broncos have looked over the last 6 games. We talked about them, how their defense was legit. But now they're going up against the best team they've faced all year. And offensively, I'm not sure the Broncos can hang around with Baltimore if Lamar gets this team going. Kind of like the Ravens here, -9. If it gets there, Ravens in the first half, I think they come out fast, -6. I think they put up some points. I like the over 45, 46. I kind of like the Ravens on the over.
How about this one here? If I'm not mistaken, it's Chicago at Arizona. Boy, Arizona, man, they could win the West. I mean, they've pounded the Rams and they've pounded the Niners. And Murray's having a hell of a season right now. And who would have thought Jonathan Gannon may actually have a football team that could be a division winner here? It's a pretty interesting game. And Chicago, obviously, off that disastrous Hail Mary. And Caleb Williams is struggling like crazy right now. You like Arizona in this one?
Line's 1.5. We gave out Arizona before the season started on your show to go over 6 wins. We expected them to be much better. I didn't expect them to come out this fast, but, I'll take it. The Bears got me last week. I mean, Chicago's defense, one of the best in the NFL, number 1 in red zone defense. I think they're 10th in opponent yards per play. They're 8th in opponent yards per pass attempt. And they still lost to a banged-up Jaden Daniels, and they couldn't cover the spread. So that kind of shocked me last week. Like you said, Caleb Williams, he's really underperforming. I mean, last week he just averaged 4.3 yards per pass attempt against one of the weaker defenses in the NFL. And you can't have that. He's number 1 draft pick. He's supposed to be the next star, So, but with that said, I kind of think he bounces back this week. I mean, this Cardinals' pass defense is worse than the Commanders. And this is the most banged up Arizona's pass defense has been all season going into this game. They got some issues there. Cardinals' defensive line has one of the worst pressure rates in the NFL. Bears, like I said, probably the best defense the Cardinals have faced all season. I kind of like the healthier team here. I kind of like the Bears plus 1.5. I mean, Arizona's been winning a little bit too much here. The whole public's going to be on Arizona after the way the Bears lost last week. Give me the Bears plus 1.5.
How about this one, man? I'm looking forward to this thing. Jared Goff is playing MVP ball. He's got to be in the top 3 conversations right now because this 5-game stretch, check it out. He's like 84% completion percentage. He's got like 147 quarterback rating. Last week he had 85 passing yards and 3 TDs. I've never seen that with that low a number, a guy throwing for under 90 yards, and he had 3 touchdowns in the game, but it's because they're playing effective football and they're playing great defense on that side of the ball, even without Aiden Hutchinson. But there's Green Bay, man. I'll tell you something about this Matt LaFleur guy. People got to start elevating him as being one of the better coaches in the game. He's a fabulous play caller. And look at the job that he's done with Jordan Love, man. I mean, this stat here will always blow my mind. Like the Steelers stat, check it out, Godfather. And since 1969, the Steelers have only had 3 head football coaches. Wow. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. In the last 40 years, or 35 years, the Green Bay Packers have only had 3 quarterbacks, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. And they've taken 98% of the snaps in those 35 years. That's insanity when it comes to consistency. This is a hell of a football game. And Jared Goff was sent to Detroit to die. He wasn't sent there to be like an odds-on guy. They thought he was a bridge guy. Now he just signed a new contract. He's making $53 million a year, and he's making more than Matthew Stafford. Yeah. This is a good-looking game here. Who do you like in this one? And it's at Lambeau.
Well, we got futures on the Lions to win it all at 13-1.
Yep.
And if you remember, before the season started, I said if you want to take a nibble on Jared Goff at 28-1 to win the MVP, it's got a shot. Right now, he's got the 4th best odds behind Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes. So he's playing lights out. This is going to be a war, though. Both teams ranked in the top 5 in turnover margin. Detroit's look better on the season. They got a plus 54 point differential better than the Packers, and they played one less game. But this game is at Lambeau. The Packers are the healthier team with the healthier pass defense. I think the game's a coin flip. I'm bullish on the Lions to win the whole thing this year, but I like the Packers this week plus 3. I think it's too many points here in a game that can go either way. Two good, solid teams, and the healthier team is the Packers going in this matchup. I like the Packers plus 3.
You know what's really cool about Lambeau when you go up there? I got a media guide back here that I had to save it because I went to Lambeau and I played a football game. My aunt actually flew up and watched me play. And get this. So underneath the stadium, on Lombardi actually himself put these coils under the field because during the wintertime, it freezes. And so it heats the field up. And, you know, they've modified it, obviously, but Vince put this special coil system underneath the Lambeau field. So all the players used to lay on the field when you were up there, like, say you're in Tampa like I was. You're up there in December, dog. You're laying on that. I'll tell you what, if anyone's ever been to Appleton and then you go over to Lambeau and you go up to that field, man, that place is a absolute freezer.
Wow.
And you're there. I mean, it is cold as hell. But it was really cool because that's why you see that mist from the old films coming off the ground where that stuff was coming from. Yeah. It was coming from the coils, and that gave that aura to Lambeau Field. I think it's like a cathedral because when you walk in there, man, it's one of the best stadiums. That's going to be a great environment for two old NFL football teams. How about this one here? Rams in Seattle. This game here, man, Seattle, sneaky good. Then sometimes they fold, but Geno Smith has been a nice story since he signed up there. And the Rams are 3-4. They got to kind of even the record heading into this thing here. They got all their pieces back now. I'll tell you what, if the Rams catch fire, that's another team in the NFC that you got to keep an eye on because they got some really good weapons out there. And Stafford over the last couple of weeks has been playing pretty good ball. How do you see this game in Seattle? A very tough place to play.
Yeah, the game's a pick 'em. And when you go over everything, I mean, the game's a coin flip. Seattle's coming back off an embarrassing loss to the Bills, division game. The Rams rank about 8 spots better in the turnover margin. So that kind of makes me weary about back in Seattle here. Seattle's slightly healthier overall and slightly better on defense. Offensively, the stats are about the same. Rams do have the better quarterback, better coach. Rams have extra rest going into this one. But we all know Seattle's a tough place to play. Seattle's weakness on defense is stopping the run, but the Rams offensively, they're ranked 30th in the NFL in yards per rush attempt, so they don't run the ball particularly well. Where the Bills last week, you saw what they did to them with James Cook. I mean, they ran all over that team. This is just too close to call. If I do anything, I'll give it out on X on my Twitter account, but I haven't done nothing yet on this game. It's going to be a fun game to watch.
How about this one here? Minnesota. They better win a game here because now they're starting to fall back a little bit and they're starting to resemble a little bit like New Orleans. Got out to a fast start, and all of a sudden you're starting to see that team wobble. Indianapolis, man, they put Joe Flacco in there. They look like a team that can win ball games. I mean, Anthony Richardson, I think the best days for that kid are in the past, and he's only been in the league a year and a half. I mean, can't be quitting on your football team saying you're tired. I mean, it's one thing to be injured. It's another thing to quit on your team, but Flacco gives them a shot. I mean, how about this? Who would have thought we're talking about Joe Flacco versus Sam Darnold in a game on Sunday here? I mean, that shows you how psycho the league is here. You're supposed to be talking about J.J. McCarthy and Anthony Richardson. Instead, we're talking about Joe Flacco and Sam Darnold. Okay, what do you like in this one? And by the way, it's in Minneapolis.
Yeah, Vikings are 5.5 and 46.5. Line opened up 6.5, and as soon as they said Flacco was playing, that line dropped a point. Dan, I think it's Flacco time, man. Taylor's back for Indy. The Colts defense has gotten healthy. I like the Colts. Take the Colts plus 5.5. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts win this game outright on the road. The betting public's going to be all over the Vikings, and I think they're about to get Flacco. I love Flacco, man. I like him. Plus 5.5. Take the Colts.
You like him because he's a Paisan. That's why. Hey,
he's down the street, Audubon, New Jersey. He's a brother from a different mother.
I think he signed at Pitt first, and then he went to Delaware State, if I'm not mistaken. That's how that thing rolled out. But how about this? So if Gannon wins and Steichen wins, you have two of the former assistant coaches with 500 records and all in races to play in the postseason. That's pretty good coaching, man. Who would have thought that they had that kind of coaching staff when they went to the Super Bowl? But it kind of speaks to the volume of what that staff looked like, because both these coaches, man, they win this weekend. They're both 500.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good team. That was a good coaching staff. That was the year. If Jalen Hurts doesn't fumble in the Super Bowl and they don't get that holding call at the 10-yard line at the end of the game, I mean, it's just so many things happened in that game. But it was a great season for the Eagles fans.
Jalen Hurts is the Aaron Judge dropping a high fly out there in the middle of the center field like he was playing Little League football. What a stunad. Monday, the Buccaneers without all their guys not. I don't know if Mike is going to be back, but Kansas City, they get DeAndre Hopkins for another one. It's in KC. Do you ever bet against Kansas City? I mean, they're 7-0, and here's another step to go 8-0 on the season.
Yeah, it's just tough. Kansas City's laying 9 and 45.5. Like you said, the Buccaneers dogs are barking, Dan. The Buccaneers offense is banged up. Chiefs are at home. DeAndre Hopkins is in a Chiefs uniform. Juju's back. The Buccaneers ranked 29th on defense and opponent yards per play. Tampa's pass defense isn't any good either. I'm not betting against the Chiefs here. Buccaneers got some issues. Depending on the weather, I might look to go over 45. But I'm not betting against the Chiefs. I'm not doing that Monday night.
All right, some college games here. Ohio State, Penn State. Big game, Happy Valley. James Franklin doesn't win big games. He doesn't beat Michigan or Ohio State. He's got to win these games, man. It's at home, too. He's got the personnel here. I think Ohio State is I think they've wobbled around a little bit this year where they can show you that they're vulnerable in some areas. How do you see this team playing out here? This should be a really good football game.
Yeah, originally Buckeyes opened up 3.5. It's down to 3 at some shops. Some sharp money came in on Penn State, pushed that line down to 3. The bet splits right now, public's all over Penn State. Surprisingly, about 70% of the early action is on the Nittany Lions. When I handicapped the game, I mean, Ohio State's banged up. They lost their left tackle. They've got some injuries. Last 2 weeks, they barely squeaked out a win against Nebraska. They lost to Oregon by a point on the road. You're getting 3.5 points with a Penn State team. I mean, when it comes to the price, that looks like the right side. But to be honest, I'm a little hesitant to take Penn State here. Like you said, they've lost 11 of the last 12 matchups against Ohio State. They haven't played a team like Ohio State all season. They got some cute wins against Wisconsin, Illinois. They beat a mediocre USC team with a 500 record, barely beat them. I guess the right side is Penn State at home at anything over a field goal. But I'm not rushing out to bet this game. I mean, Ohio State's still pretty good. They're the best team Penn State's faced all season. But if you do like Penn State, right now they're 13-1 to win the national championship. And if they do beat Ohio State, those odds are going to drop down to like 3-1, 4-1. So you'll get the best of the price if you want to take them at 13 or 14-1 to win it all. But I don't see them beating Ohio State this week. But they might cover the spread.
Should I be concerned about this Duke game versus Miami? Manny Diaz goes back home. I mean, Duke's got only 2 losses on the season. I mean, am I concerned about it, or is this more about covering and, they're going to win the game, but, the cover and all that? I think they win the game pretty big here, but should I be concerned about this?
No, the spread's 20-20.5. Miami should win this game. Duke's cute at times. They played some pretty good football, but they're the juggernaut, man. We gave them out before the season started, over 9 wins to win the ACC plus 400, and we nibbled on them at 50-1 to win the whole thing. And this is the year, Dan. I like Miami a lot this year.
Final one. Should Oregon be concerned going up to Ann Arbor and playing Michigan, or is Michigan out of gas this year?
I mean, you got 2 good defensive teams. It's hard to play up there, but Michigan's offense stinks.
Terrible.
They're putrid. I think they're ranked like 102nd in college football. I just don't know if they can keep up with Oregon. The line's 14.5. Seems like a lot of points. Oregon doesn't turn the ball over much. If they did, well, then maybe Michigan has a shot. If Michigan wins a turnover battle, I just don't see them scoring. How are they going to score? How are they going to stay within that 14-point spread. I mean, Michigan makes one mistake, and that could be a wrap. I didn't bet it yet, but I kind of lean Oregon minus 14.
And there he is, my good friend, the Philly Godfather. They're setting you up. I love that segment, man. We go over all the games, giving you a shot to pick yourself some winners here. Brother, I appreciate it, man. I can't thank you enough. It's going to be a great football weekend. Tell the folks how they can find you.
You can find me on X at Philly Godfather. The website's at phillygodfather.com. Every Friday, 5:30 p.m. on the greatest show in the world, the Dan Sileo Show. Get out there and vote. Donald Trump, baby. Good luck, guys.
Have a good one, Godfather. I appreciate it, man. That's my boy there. Love doing that with him, man. Don't forget, too, our good friends at BetUS. Speaking of betting, our partners that we have here with BetUS, we love the fact that we've teamed up with them, and the YouTube 150 is here with your sign-in bonus up to $2K. 125% is your second and third signing bonuses up to $2K. Crypto 200% signing bonuses up to $2K are there for you. All you have to do is log on to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business, 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year, live wagering on all major games. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sil sent you.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
$31-17. Eagles over the Jags. Guys were awesome. What a great week this week, man. Absolutely sensational. We'll check you guys out on Sunday for the pregame show. Xander does a halftime show also with John McMullen, and then also the famous postgame show. That'll be on Sunday following Jaguars and Eagles. And then, of course, Monday, 2 to 6. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Have a sensational weekend. Thank you again for everything that you guys do. All the super chats, everything that you guys have done. Can't thank you enough. Hit that like button. Big Joe, Xander, thank you guys so much. 2 to 6 Monday. We'll see you on the flip side.